All right, so I think we're live. We are live. All right, so what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Nova, and I welcome you all to the very first episode of the Neverwinter Podcast, Podcast of Annihilation. And to kick things off right, I have a few special guests with me here today. One person you guys should be familiar with already, and if you're not, there's something wrong. I've done a video with him in the past before. So Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'll have the rest of you guys introduce yourselves and just tell the people watching at home a little bit about you and the Neverwinter community.
Hello, my name is JayAgeDee. I do videos on YouTube on Neverwinter with the demo tool, and I occasionally write guides on Reddit.
Awesome. Pleasure to have you here. Joshy?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm running the Neverwinter Uncensored side since, I think, like maybe even since 3 years now. I can't remember. And I'm running a blog on a daily basis and write about all this stuff. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Pleasure to have you here. SNK, you too?
Yeah, great to be here as well. Thank you very much. I've been playing Neverwinter for about 3 years itself, I think, and been doing YouTube videos along guides and all sorts, and touch upon events and all sorts, and generally love the game and still to this moment do.
Me too. I love the game. I mean, it's hard to get away from the game, even though how much you want to, because I do, but it just keeps pulling me back. And actually, everybody, all of their social media, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, Neverwinter Uncensored, and on blog, everything is going to be in the description box below for you guys to check out. Make sure you guys follow them and support them, because we support you guys and you guys support us, and we want this community to grow. So the Winter Festival is coming up, Black Friday. What do you guys think about the Winter Festival? Like, is it going to be different this year? Are we going to have any, besides, I mean, we all know that we're going to get it for the Preservation Wars, for 12b, for SNK and me, since we're on console. But for you two, like, what are you guys striving for in the Winter Festival?
Well, I mean, first of all, does it have to change? I mean, I love the Winter Festival. It's just, the scenery is just gorgeous in my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, the casual gamer probably just, doesn't need as many content during the holidays anyway. So you log in and you can enjoy these events, which are really cool and unique, and the scenery is great. And then you can claim your gifts every day. And you can actually, I mean, most of the rewards have been devalued over the years, but you can still get a bunch of great stuff. You mentioned the wards, but you can also get an artifact, or mount skins.
Oh, the Forge Hammer of God.
Yeah, the Forge Hammer. I mean, that's the grand prize, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have those sled mounts. So, I wrote an article how you could add some juice to the festival, but I think overall it doesn't have to change a lot, because people have enough stuff to do. And, generally over the holidays, you kind of have other stuff to do in the offline world. So,
yeah. I mean, what kind of juice would you want added to it?
Oh man, I got to be honest. I would need to look up my own article, what I wrote there. But I think I proposed like a PvP queue for a sled race.
Oh shit!
I think, yeah. So it was like it was kind of unrealistic, but that's what I do. I just think about stuff and then write it for the blog. So
doesn't it, as you say, like at the minute it's the sled race is literally you, and then if you manage to see other people on the course, you overtake them, and you do. I feel quite good when I overtake someone, because you're like, oh yeah, I'm beating them, or I'm going to beat whatever time they got. But then at the end of it, you don't see. There's no score, there's no nothing. I think it would be a lot better if they had some sort of score, like either how they had the events with the fishing. They do every whatever, you get so many points. But if they did as well, if they had the quickest times as well, which would be quite cool to see. Something to spice it up, give it like I don't think, as Joshua was saying earlier, there isn't a lot else you can do, because with the fishing you've got the extra campaign currencies and things like that, and that sort of rounds off any currencies that you need or campaigns you haven't quite finished. But to add something to do, rather than people like myself included just logging in on every single character, getting a parcel, using it, then that's it. Like by the end of the festival, that was all I was doing. At the beginning of it, I play it and do it with everyone I know and have a good time with it. But as you say, there's other things that come in the way, like Christmas and seeing family and things like that. So you have to do the bare minimum sometimes, which is a shame. But I don't know what they could add. That's the only problem. I think the races would be good idea. Great place to start with, having a group to go up against.
Yeah, I mean, I think the race really has potential. I was envisioning something like Mario Kart, like where you actually go on your sled and start to shoot people. I know it's completely unrealistic that this is ever going to get added to the game, but that's just what I was thinking about, like extending the race in some shape or form, make it a PvP queue with a ranking and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, just
what about
spicing up
no, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, just spicing up some of the contests, like the Monsters on Ice. Barely anybody does that really. Fishing, yeah, sure. The sled race.
I think fishing could. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
I guess they could do also so much more with the Monsters on Ice. It's for the most part, it's just annoying because you slither along, like it has the frozen ground. And the movement, it gets really weird. And
that's why you got to be a CW.
Yeah.
Well,
field time and run around.
You can't always play range classes.
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, but with the sled race, I actually had an idea recently. Something along the lines of Tensa's runner, where everybody would be on the Tensa's disc and like a skateboard through half pipes. Like a long track.
That would actually be pretty cool. That would actually be pretty cool. That would be interesting to see.
Like
I was thinking that with the
around.
Winter Festival,
yeah,
like you know how we were fishing for campaign currency.
Yes.
I mean, since Schult and the Swords of Schult have totems, and I don't know if that's a currency that people would want, or maybe they could farm or fish for totems, or maybe even fangs lore for hunts. That might might push it too much, but I think with each module that we have here. All right, my bad. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All fine.
Okay. So what I was saying is, with the Winter Festival, each module that we have, we're always introduced with a new currency. So I think it would be interesting if they would add some of the currency into the Winter Festival, whether it be totems or maybe even hunts or hunt lores, the trophies for them, because it's difficult already as it is to get the lores and the trophies from Schult. They drop almost close to none, like less than a 1% chance. I just think that would add more instead of just having the fishing solely for alts, because most people already have their main characters maxed out with all the currency that they need for the boons.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't think they are going to add hunt trophies to the fishing thing. I mean, totems, sure, because it's a campaign currency, and they might add it this year because that's the main currency from the current campaign. But I don't know. I don't see them adding any hunt trophies. That's just
Too much.
Yeah, probably too much. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's too much, but it could be wishful thinking.
And that's also.
No, I don't know.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
To be fair, sorry, Jay.
Sure.
Quickly. The only thing is, I don't know whether they would or wouldn't. I mean, they do. You can fish at the minute, can't you? In where is it? I can't even think of it now. The name of the place, but nice. You can fish now. Yeah, that's the one. Get the femurs, you can get the pincers already, so you can. I don't know whether they'd add those in, but at a lesser rate, because obviously you're already trying to get a specific campaign currency. I don't know. I wouldn't say that they're not going to add in the higher stuff. Totems have, as we'd all agreed. I'm just trying to think what happened last year. What was the latest campaign around last year? Had they added the newest thing in?
I don't think so.
The last campaign should have been.
Wasn't it Venom Blood? Or no, Element
Thunder.
No.
At least for PC, it must have been Stonking Thunder.
Yeah, what was the currency from Mod 11? River District.
Elemental Evil.
No.
No.
No,
Evidence of Evil.
Let-
There we go.
Evidence of Evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
God, elemental evil.
Yeah, exactly.
that
Close
module.
enough.
But yeah, that would be good if they did do that, because we didn't have that in the fishing.
Well, it's
But-
also a
I
thing
think it would be good.
to look at the Winter Festival and see exactly what it should be. Like, it is a catch-up time. It's a way for us to catch up on the most current content, on main tars. If you were not present for the main module release, it's a time to catch up for alt tunes on other campaigns. It's just a thing that should not have that much content on its own. It's just a way to relax a bit and say, okay, take it easy. We have time until the next module drops, and we can get some more if we're not ready already.
Yeah. That's why I think totems would be a great addition, because for the people that want to farm for those enchanting stones, which I pray for you guys, they're on PC right now. It would be awesome to get those keys ready, because do you really want to buy legendary dragon keys for, a close to a zero chance to getting an enchanting stone? I mean, Cali Gold has been running, I think he's at 40 runs.
Oh yeah, the
and he's only gotten 2 enchanting stones.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't tell him, but I got like 2 enchanting stones in 5 runs or so.
Oh,
That's-
my god.
No, but
That's crazy.
I mean, it's RNG, so it is what it is. But I agree. I mean, totems would really be great,
Yeah.
especially since they removed the 12b skirmish from the random queues.
Yes.
So that was a nice way to get some totems in the random queue. And now that
Well, you can still
that's gone,
farm it.
Craft the key.
So, a friend of mine and I recently ran a couple runs in the new skirmish, and
And
it's
keys
actually, well, even without all the keys, you get decent amount of totems, so it works fine that way. But yeah,
That's fair enough. The only other thing I was going to say was point out is that they've obviously added the patronage, are going to be adding
Oh,
the
yeah.
patronage stuff.
oh yeah,
So wouldn't that, if they were gonna, obviously the patronage point, the point of that is so that you can lessen the time with your alts. But then if you're using the Winter Festival as a campaign currency catch up, then that's sort of like doing it by 4 times quicker as such, if you see what I mean. So I don't know, would they really add in those things if your alts are already going to be buffed from the patronage, or do you think they would just add it in anyway?
I think they would add it in because even with the patronage stuff, there are so many campaigns, honestly.
The
At least
patronage is
times.
what exactly? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the unlock for a campaign for the boons?
No. You can forge a patronage signe on a character who has already completed a campaign and give it to one of your toons,
Okay,
which
that's
then
what it was.
cuts all campaign costs in half and everything. But well,
Quite nice. It is very nice.
yeah, it is good. It's better for some campaigns than others, but yeah, it's a really well made system. I recently used it for my cleric. Finally got a cleric because nobody wants a hunter ranger with mediocre item level for Tomb of the Nine Gods.
Well,
It's all
yeah,
about
it's
those
the
2 DCs.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
2 DCs,
The
2 tanks,
patronage
and a
stuff,
deeps.
Are you enjoying it?
pardon?
You've got the patronage stuff on it. Do you
Yes.
think it is really helping you out?
Oh yeah. Especially for campaigns like Maze Engine, it's amazing. Get it? Sorry.
The really old ones, the ones that not many people are doing anymore.
I guess it's really good for Maze Engine. It's not good for Dread Ring because it's daily capped anyway. But it does help for things like Underdark. It helps for Sharandar. You can actually get into the second zone in Sharandar way earlier now, and the third zone too. It's going to be incredible for Cloaked Ascendancy because everything is going to be cut in half and there's no like progression barrier. So to me, yeah, it was absolutely worth it. Oh, and don't get me started on like Storm King Thunder because oh no.
No, not Storm King Thunder. You said Dread Ring, and that brings up the question with you guys are in 12B right now.
Yes.
How does that work with the refinement points?
idea. Yeah, that's a good point.
And then same thing with quartermasters and dragon hordes.
Well, those tasks are not getting halved by the patronage system, so it's only the progression tasks that get halved. So and boons, right? So you really only progress with twice the speed, but you can't get a sort of market advantage. They purposely left those ones out to avoid situations in which players feel like they have to buy the tokens to be competitive on the market.
Yeah, if
and
they
it
want
makes
to sell
sense.
Dragon Horde. Right? Or what are you talking about? Like the Dragon Horde enchantment task and campaigns, right?
No, well, that and also with how those enchantments work with dropping refinement points. Are they going to drop refinement points straight into your inventory, or what's happening with the Dread Ring and with those enchantments? Because the Dread Rings just straight up gave you bags that you would open, and you would have different types of refinement stones, stability, union. So have you been to the Dread Ring recently where things have changed?
Yes. So we don't have stability, union, and power anymore. That just got put into one category. It's the enchanting stone, and it still works like previous. Essentially, everything works like previously. Previously, you just get different stuff. Like Dread Ring still drops you bags that are character bound and give you RP items that are character bound. Same for like Arcane Reservoir or Sharon Dailies, and leadership coffers. Everything that's used to grant RP still gives you RP. Dragon Horde enchantment didn't change much. Fey Blessing, I think, also drops enchanting stone, like gems, like paradots and everything. And Quartermasters still function like they do on Xbox, like they drop actual enchantments, which are still account bound.
Okay. Might have to check that out, because I do like that they gave us this new refinement system. But it's funny, but I kind of saw it coming. How with Mod 12 they gave us a new bag, making us hold at, what is it, like 7 bags now. Getting us to fill our bags with enchantment stones and all this other useless stuff. And then 12b, they give us a module to basically empty out our bags.
Oh yeah,
it's just like
that's the best part of it. I mean,
what you mean? You feel like you've wasted. Like you didn't. If they'd have done it the other way around, you wouldn't have even needed so many bags in the first place.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
I don't know.
I
do like it, dude. It's going to be so much easier. And I mean, we're not getting any more double refinement. I don't even know when our console double refinement is. I think it's on the 22nd. I think that's the last one.
Yeah, I think that is about right, because we're getting it. It is very soon, because I did a live stream the other day, and there was some people who were getting really excited about it, and I was asking them what they were going to do. So yeah, it is very soon. It is very soon.
And there's also not going to be any more artifact.
That's the big part. Like, I would say that's the only downside of the new system.
Yeah, not being able to feed your artifacts into one another.
Yeah,
so you really need to do that now.
I think you have 2 more refining events on console before 12b. So it's one on the 22nd now, and then I think on the 28th of December or something. So yeah, you should definitely get your feeders and refine your artifacts, because that's really the only area that's getting worse.
Yeah, the other ones
everything else is at least on par or even getting better, but refine your artifacts before 12b. That's the only rule.
I mean, it should be easy to get artifacts by now. I would assume so, because you can even run Tiamat. And almost every run that I ran Tiamat, the last, I think it was double AD. No, it wasn't double AD. It was some double event. And I was just running Tiamat nonstop with Effenhusa 57. And every run, I kept getting a Tiamat sword. I've almost one character full with Tiamat orbs. So I think, is the price... Do you think the prices? What do you think about the prices? How is that going to change with 12b?
I guess they went.
I mean, the artifact market just crashed. I mean, at least the artifacts that used to be feeders, they were like on PC, they were like hovering around 50K or something each, a little bit higher during a refining event, and they are now down to 5K. So it's they're basically only worth pennies now.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes with so if the double refinement event is on the 22nd and the 28th, and we have the Black Friday or the Zen Market sale. I don't even know what sale it is now. It's like a pack sale that we're having currently, or is it currently?
You have a pack sale?
A Thanksgiving sale from November 17th to the 27th on PS4 and Xbox.
That must be a console only thing. Do we have one?
Yeah,
on PC.
I don't think you guys do.
I don't think so.
But these sales, I understand that they want to surprise us with the Black Friday sale, and I understand that it shouldn't be promoted because you want to surprise people with it. But I really think that this year, it really shouldn't be like a 40%, 50% sale. It should be more than that for the stuff that's happened, so far that the company has done. At least to compensate all of the players, not just a select few of players. Like there's only a select few of players that only got free 2,000 Zen from the seal event, that whole seal event that happened. I don't know, SN or Jay or Josh, if you guys got that email too, but I got one, and they gave me 2,000 Zen for free because of the seal thing. It only targeted certain players.
Yeah, that was a console only thing because we never had a broken event. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, but I mean, good luck with getting more than 40% Zen sale on Black Friday. That won't happen ever.
No.
I mean,
what happened last year? Did we have a 50%? I thought it was a 50%.
I think we had a 50% sale. Yes.
I think a 50 would be. I mean, 60 would be perfect.
I mean,
75 could be pushing it. Maybe 60 is perfect.
Yeah.
50% was on the Protectors event.
That's right. Do you think they'll do another one of the Protector Julebees? Just surprise us with one?
No, yeah. Well, the event will come back, and I think there will also be a sale again. Yeah.
Yeah, you typically have 3 massive Zen sales throughout the year, and that's Jubilee, Christmas, and Black Friday. Those are the 3, and I think they started with 50% sales, and then I think the most recent ones were 40% across the board.
I'm pretty sure that Jubilee was 50% still because
50. Okay.
I bought Warts like
I
crazy.
think you are right. Yeah.
I'm trying to see what we got at this Juleebee. Okay, we got that unicorn. We got the throne.
The Jubilee event is for the. Well, I use it mostly for the 25% discount on the Wondrous Bazaar. So you can.
Okay.
Yeah, with VIP combined, you get 50% of your superior marks and everything.
This was just I don't remember. This was just an event where you didn't have to kill any enemies, right? It was just some logging in rewards, or you had to kill currency. Protector's Bounty.
Yeah.
Oh, I did this. I remember this. I did 1,000 of these. I didn't get shit. I remember. I made a video. I didn't get shit.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was quite lucky this year with the vouchers I got.
Yeah, Jubilee is just following the merchant all day. Yeah. I mean, it's really boring. Stupid, but it's really boring, but the rewards are there, so you just do it.
What rewards? I didn't get shit. There's no rewards there.
The only thing I did get was 2 vouchers I got 2 Zen vouchers, but the list is huge. They're ridiculous, so you don't even know what you're going to get out of it.
I got one voucher.
Now on PC, what you want to do is you get those Astral Diamond discounts for the Wondrous Bazaar, and then you pile up those Mark of Potencies, and then you resell them like 2 or 3 months later, and you make a major profit. So you're basically farming the merchant to get the Astral Diamond discounts, and then you just stock up potencies and resell them later. That's what you do on PC.
Yeah.
So. And it's really a massive, massive AD gain, at least for me, every year.
Oh, yeah. I bought like a stack. And
do you think we'll ever have one?
Like, well, if you're lucky with the vouchers, I think the vouchers should also drop on console. I wouldn't know if.
I mean, is there a way to get? Because when I was doing my opening, people were telling me that I would have to open until I get a voucher. Then, if it's the voucher I want, use it or delete it. Then open more to get more vouchers.
Yes, that's the way. You can only ever get or hold one voucher. So if it's not the one you want to use, then you have to instantly discard it.
That's
otherwise you won't get
wrong.
new. Yeah, otherwise you won't get new ones. So that can get frustrating. So
Wish I knew that beforehand.
Well,
Fuck
yeah,
it.
but as always,
why
it's
me
RNG.
too.
So some people will get a market advantage and some won't. Sadly.
Didn't Cold Wars drop too from Protector
Yes,
Julebis?
very rarely. Very rarely.
yeah, they quote unquote dropped, but
Yeah.
they didn't. I mean,
It's lower.
I had a
than
Cold War
legendary.
drop out of Grey Wolf Den before I had one drop out of Protector Julebis. I'd rather farm Grey Wolf Den instead of Julebis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, they drop. It's the strangest thing because I got Dragon Keys, a 5-pack of Dragon Keys, Legendary Dragon Keys out of ETOS. I got a Cold Ward out of Grey Wolf Den, and I got Prez Wards out of ETOS too, a 5-pack of Prez Wards. And I think they were character bound.
Yeah,
I might have been character bound. I don't remember.
I think those rewards got added with the dungeon key rework, but it's a microscopic chance. I mean, if you get it, nice. But yesterday, a friend of mine, first time Castle's run, Castle retreat, first new player, and he got an epic account bound Fire Archon.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Phil gets so lucky.
That was his first ever epic anything run. He just reached level 70.
Damn. He's gonna have good RNG throughout the
Yeah,
entire game.
Lucker. Well, yeah, that's RNG. It's good for some, bad for some. That's sadly how it is.
And the thing with the RNG is, I'm okay with the RNG and dungeons, but let's talk about Storm King's Thunder and the
But what?
Nova went, but I guess he was probably going to talk about the using that, but we might as well just wait until he comes back.
Yeah. Storm King's Thunder probably triggered PTSD, and he quit.
The keys just were too much to him.
Oh,
Think about it.
Oh, Joshy's in here now.
okay. Yoshi?
okay. Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
back.
great.
I have a green bar for the Discord status,
Yeah. Same.
but still at the top it says a major outage. So,
really?
I am seeing one server as being unavailable. I mean, we can try Discord again.
okay, I mean we can continue going.
I mean, I'm
but
all for TeamSpeak, but if you guys want to stay with Discord, I'm fine with that. I guess we should try to continue with Discord to keep it consistent.
Okay. Let me exit out of this.
So we're all here, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're all here at the minute, so we might as well try. If it messes up again, then yeah, fair enough. We'll try, because it's obviously not.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't remember where we were.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
I think we should just start with a new topic
Yeah.
and go into
Okay.
like new class. Let me restart my.
Let's talk about Discord outages.
Wait a second.
Discord outages.
All right, I'm back.
All right, so we are back, and we're going to talk about Discord outages today because it literally just fucked us right in the middle of this recording. And we were going to try TeamSpeak, and then we were going to try Skype, but it looks like Discord is back up and running now, hopefully. Hopefully we don't experience any more of those issues, but if we do, we will be back, no problem. So the new class, we got word on a couple of new classes. We got a bard, we got a monk, and we have a druid. Now, which one do you guys want most out of all three of those? Because those are the top three right now.
I want a druid.
Druid. We have a
Yeah.
druid over here.
Oh yeah.
Why druid?
Imagine like the main mechanic of a druid in D&D is wild shape. that you turn into different animals, like a dire wolf, a giant spider, a brown bear, and like those are the classic ones, and many more if you level up and choose to customize it. But just imagine, like, on PC it's tab. I don't know what it is for console. Your class mechanic just turning into an animal and just going ham on everything. I figured that could be cool.
Well, if you change into a different animal, would you get new abilities for
Yes.
each animal that you turn into?
Yes. Like,
Fair enough. I
the
like that.
wolf in D&D can do a bite, which if the enemy fails a saving throw, they get knocked prone. The spider can shoot webs and has poison. And I don't know what the bear has, but yeah, essentially every
would like
animal has some specialty to them.
What about you? What about you, Joshi and Essen?
I'm gonna go with Druid as well, because I think if they release a new class, then it has to come with significant new gameplay, and
Oh yeah.
like changing into it would be kind of HR like, right? So with a Hunter Ranger, you obviously switch between the range and the melee stance, and I think a Druid, like going into an animal, probably like in Neverwinter, it would probably just be one, like a wolf or a bear or something like that. I think that's enough of a new gameplay element to roll with. And I think you have to do this because in Neverwinter, classes don't come with independent starting areas or super deep immersive class quests. So you got to have this unique gameplay element to make a new class appealing to most players.
Yeah, that is interesting. It is. I don't know. It's hard though because you've got so many things. What would you say about the feats, like the paths? Because obviously you can take a path, can't you? And you have like the path, certainly from Paladin or like CW. You have the Master of the Flame, or I can't remember the other one for the CW.
Spellstorm.
Spellstorm, yes.
So you got the two sides of that, and then you got the protection and the divine or whatever it is. I've completely forgotten now.
I think it might be devotion.
Devotion, that's the one. Yeah, devotion. So how would that work with the druid though?
Like what two paths would you have
the
as
Paragon
a Paragon
paths.
path?
So
That's
And
what
then your
I guess
feats.
that's what.
oh
I'm
yeah,
asking.
yeah. Neverwinter was designed for 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons, where there would be a class, and then you would have a Paragon path, which would specialize that class. Now we have subclasses instead, and specific like customizations. And for druids, that would be the circle. Like for bard, it is colleges. For I don't know what it is for clerics or anything, but for druids, it's like circle of the moon. Oh, I don't actually know the second one. That was in the player's handbook, but one of them is circle of the moon. So that would be one of the Paragon paths. And then I guess you would again have an option. I could see a druid, one of the feat paths, specialize in the wild shape forms, like the animal forms. One of the feat paths would focus purely on the human form, and I don't know, one would do something between, or again human form but more damage or more survivability and something like that. So it could work with the system, but I guess the power setup has to be completely different, because you need, if you have only one animal form, fine. But if you have many, or even one, you need sort of a similar system like the Hunter Ranger, which can switch the power setup
stances.
depending on stance you're in.
Yeah.
Or just have a completely different power setup as well. I guess that could work too.
I mean, when you're switching paths, would you want to switch paths and have your character like change visually into that, like just switch stances where your actual stances is changed, then your encounter power is changed? Because I understand what you're saying with the Hunter Ranger, like when you're switching stances, like your encounter power is changed. So I think that would work, but I'm looking at the visual side of it too. And would you actually want your character to change into that? I mean, you probably would want to, but
Into the animals?
you know, Yeah, into the
yeah.
animals.
Imagine.
I mean,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
the only thing I was going to say is that they could do it like I personally think they could do it probably 3 ways, right? So you've got like the Paragon path, like we said before. So you could either go down like have a specific animal for, like as you said, the bear or the direwolf or whatever, one for each one, and then do from attacks like that. Or they could do, they have a certain few powers throughout your power sheet. You've got, so you have like 3 or 4 animals that sit in there, so each power does a different animal thing. Or you could have, like you were saying, Nova, about like a stance, so you have 2 animals and then the powers are just revolving all around that. I think they're the ways to do it. But as you said, do you really want to be, if you've got it on powers, if you're done as powers, you're always going to be a druid, as such, like walking around like everybody else, so you can have the race and everything. But then you will only see the animal for a split second. And the only worrying thing I have with that is, would they actually make your character turn into the animal? Because if you think about how long a mount takes to turn up, you pull your mount out and you see them arrive and then you're on it. I worry that if you do the same thing with the attacks, you turn into something. I feel like they would only make it into like a spirit attack. So you wouldn't actually become the animal.
I see.
They would just leave you and make you like the direwolf. They do a spirit, and you just see teeth coming out of the air or something like that.
Oh, that would be.
Whereas
lame.
the stance, you can make it. I think with the stances, you can make it permanent. Like you say, you can turn into the bear, you can turn into the wolf, and something like that until you're in or it turns into one in the combat. Because the whole point, like if you're a wolf and then you get your mount out, you've got to go back, haven't you?
Yeah. I guess changing models could take some time, but they have to do it so that you actually turn into another animal, because just seeing the spirit is, or like an image or something like claws, teeth, whatever, that would be so much
What about having the,
less cool than it could be.
that we have there in what is it? In Tomb of the Nine Gods. Like, would you want like a hologram? Well, not a hologram, but you know, kind of like what the Tomb of the Nine Gods have with the potions, just a little
that would be awful
figure around you. Would that be too half-ass, or what do you
that
think?
would be too half-ass, because in D&D you literally turn into an animal. Like it transforms you, and the transformation is almost instantly.
They already have that sort of, sorry to butt in, they sort of had that in you see sometimes in like Sharandar, when you get hit by the witch, she turns you into a bear or a pig, or in Illusion's Gambit,
that's actually true. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah,
that could actually work.
I mean, it had, and I agree with San here. It could be that like, okay, level 20 unlocks the bear, level 40 unlocks the spider, and so on. And then you have different, like you only have per animal form, you have like let's say 6 or so encounter powers to fill up your encounter slots and everything. So you don't actually switch have that much customization, but that would certainly give. But again, because you have so many different animals, that would be certainly enough, and I think that would be the best way they could pull off the druid.
I mean, the druid is the one that's winning the race right now.
Yeah.
It's druid, monk, and bard. And it's strange because they Neverwinter tweeted about the bard when the bard is in 3rd place. So
I think that's what worries me though, Nova, is that like the things that we've said about the character of the druid, like the whole point that we would, as people who have watched the series, like seen the game grow and would like it to be as rich of the game as possible, we see ourselves completely turning into that animal. And I think that they would get away with, they made a bard, they would make a different type of cleric, or if they made a monk, they would make a different kind of DPS, which looks like the monk, whereas they don't have to turn into anything. Whereas this is the keeping it pure to the actual storyline, the lore and all that stuff. You have to change what the character looks like, and some way you've got to turn into the animal. I think like Jay was saying, it will just look like a fob off if they turn into like the attacks of spirits. It will just look like they've not put the effort into it. You've got to make it, and I think that's why that they have tweeted about a different class that isn't winning, is because they can see how much work is going to be needed to make it as authentic as possible.
Well, if we face it, like they have so much pre-production that the new class is pretty much already on the way. Like they have decided about the new class months and months ago, and
Years ago, actually.
Yeah, probably years ago, and
It's in the forums.
are
Actually,
now coming up with it. So we might see a new class in Mod 13. I don't know. We might.
I mean,
not.
I hope.
Yeah,
See, the thing
same.
with Mod 13 is like they told us on multiple different occasions that we're not going to get a new class in Mod 13, and then before Mod 12b is even released, they tweet about a new class. So it's like, are we getting a new class or are we not getting a new class? Or are you just
Team
trying to?
two.
Well, I'll
Like,
put it
what's
this
going
way.
on?
I mean, in Mod 13, there has to be something,
New.
some new, fresh element, because
Yeah.
we know we're getting like new hunts in Mod 13. The story
Oh,
will still be in
no.
Chult. You are probably, finishing or wrapping off the story that Mod 12 has begun. But
Around the soul number.
there has to be some new element besides a new dungeon, besides a campaign extension, besides the hunt. So, well, could that be a new class? Absolutely. I
Yeah.
don't think it's it's the most likely thing, but it's a possibility. I wouldn't rule it out.
What do you guys think about this? With the idea of the bard, what I was thinking is if the developers were to introduce a bard in Mod 13, what I was thinking to add more content and to get more players to not only play the bard, but to have other players who don't want to play need the bard, I was thinking that they could either do, I guess, 2 dungeon exclusives for the bard class. And what I mean by that is, let's say, like we talked about bard colleges earlier on. You have the College of Lore, you have the College of Valor. The College of Lore is more for your support, your heals, your buffs, and your debuffs. The Valor is more for your DPS. So if a bard went down the College of Lore, they would have a dungeon at the end of their quest line that is only unlockable from playing that class and completing the quest line. And then same thing for the other college. And then to get players into those dungeons, you would have to either have a bard of that college in your group, or you would have to have already unlocked the bard class on your account. What do you guys think about that? It's kind of long.
I personally am not sure. I don't think that they would do that because it forces you to have to do it. I mean, like me myself personally, I've always said this throughout the whole game. I find it very strange that if I'd have playing the game when I first played it, I was almost not happy because my character hadn't been made yet. I play as the paladin. It hadn't been made when the game first came out. And I find that I wasn't forced on to making the paladin. I was made because I played the other classes and I had enough with it. Whereas if you've got now a class that you have to do something, I think people will have an uproar. I think if it was, if there was, say, for example, a specific dungeon, or not necessarily a dungeon, but like a skirmish, something that's not everyone's going to be upset with. But if you had a skirmish where all 5 of you went into a certain college, like you said, then it might be a bit different. But if you're making a dungeon, which is quite a big thing, a dungeon is like a big thing to everyone, and everyone sees that as like end game, and you make it so that you either have to have one bard in there or you have to have had your own character go through it. I feel like you're being forced upon to do it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but wouldn't that add though to the incentive to make people to make people want to, I guess, play the class, to get the class, to enjoy the class? Because when they have a bard, I'm gonna want to play it. I'm thinking of ways to implement the bard and to add more content into the game at the same time, rather than just having a module straight only based off of one class and only adding one class, multiple dungeons and multiple contents. But yeah, forcing people, I see what you mean.
I mean, I think it's an interesting question, because in Neverwinter, I mean, your bread and butter is to run 5 character content all day. So like when you release a new class, you obviously need to think about ways how to make the edition enticing to players. Like somebody has to play it, and and I'm not sure I'd like to. I personally, I'm not sure whether I would play a bard as a class, but I'm also not a fan of like forcing me. I'm generally not a fan of forcing players into doing certain stuff. So, but I agree that you would need to find ways to make the class appealing to players so that they choose it over others, and that's a challenging task.
Yeah.
Right. To me, it has to come naturally. Like, if I see any as soon as I hear restrictions on a dungeon additional to like campaign unlock, I immediately like to say no, I don't want that. I have such a negative reaction to that because any additional restriction on an important piece of endgame content, and if you actually want it to be an incentive to players, then it has to be an important piece. Otherwise, yeah, whatever. I would not like any additional restrictions on such an endgame content piece. To me, a new class has to come naturally. Like, I should play the new class because I want to play the new class. I can certainly see how they can make all three of those, like monk, bard, and druid, work and be fun in the game. But I would not want any additional restrictions that force me to do something that I don't want to.
I see what you mean. Well, what if, I guess from a different point of view, what would you think about let's see, I guess not the dungeon being exclusive to the bard, but I guess having everyone having to go through a specific quest line that isn't a campaign, probably like a 5-10 quest, maybe, something small, nothing too crazy, in order to unlock the dungeon. Like, take the dungeon out of the campaigns, because every time they're in a campaign, there's restrictions, like you were talking about, keys, how many times you can, get the currency to progress further in the campaign. We've had enough of that. I think the dungeons and the raids, all the endgame content should be taken out of the campaign. They can be tied to it story-wise, but restricting us on what we can run and how we run it shouldn't be something that they do moving forward.
Like, personally, in my own opinion, if you look at it from their perspective, if you think about how often these mods come out, they're putting these types of things in, these hurdles for you to put it in, just so that the gap between them making new content like that is a little bit shorter to the player. So if you think of how long it took us to do for example, like the Maze Engine and the Dread Ring to get everything that we needed, or Storm King's Thunder before we could get into FBI and the MSVA, before we were actually comfortable in doing it, then you're like, the gap of the timings of it all, they had to do something, because else if you can unlock it within the first day, then suddenly that timeline between you getting the next lot of content suddenly really hits home quick, and you're already doing the top end dungeon in a day. I can see why they do it, but yes, I agree with you, Nova. I think that they should make some dungeons taken completely out of campaigns, because there was times when we had like Sharandar, Dread Ring and all that lot, you couldn't do Demogorgon and whatever, and we were just sat there. All we were doing is coming online, doing our dailies, getting our campaign, and sitting there waiting until we've actually got it. And that takes the fun out of it. You end up doing stuff that you don't want to.
Yeah,
doing old content.
Like having to grind through a campaign first for an extended period of time to get into a dungeon can certainly dampen the excitement, but at some point they have to keep us busy for some time, as you said. And the best way for me would just be, okay, if you want the best endgame content piece to be unlocked behind some weeks of grind, hey, do that, but offer us something in the meantime. Like, if you look at the campaign structure of Tourney of Dragons, of course it was not released in one mod, I think, but imagine a module giving us, okay, a skirmish that you unlock rather quickly, then you get a new dungeon that you unlock, let's say, after 2 weeks, and then after 4 weeks, okay, you get a trial, and that would be personally my favorite way of having content unlocked while still maintaining the campaign system. because
So what you're saying? Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead. My bad.
yeah, it gives you so much more to work for, and it never really gets too boring because you can, because you always have something new to do. Like the time in between unlocking new content is not too long, so you won't be stuck running the same thing over and over again. And it sort of has a crescendo feel to it. Like you're actually progressing, you're actually getting stronger. Okay, it's a strict hierarchy, and you're getting from the skirmish to the dungeon to the trial, and it has it from a dramatic point of view, it prepares you for this ultimate end fight, which should be the end. Like a trial should always be the fight against the final boss of a module, which it is currently in all 3 trials.
I do agree with you. I want to stay away from the illusionist gambit. Like, so I see what you guys were saying before when I was talking about, I guess, a bard exclusive dungeon that you have to play the bard in order to unlock it. So that kind of goes with forcing players to play the class, play the bard in order to unlock the dungeon, which goes back to illusionist gambit, like being forced to run IG, which is probably the worst skirmish in the game. I hate it, to get the companion gear. And then they made the, what was it, mod 8 or mod 10 rings, not they don't work on companions anymore.
8.
So you have to get the new rings. You have to go in there, and just running that content is just, it's good, but it's really bad. It's really bad.
I think,
and for the fact that they didn't even have it balanced when they first came out with it. Like you could do bronze and get +4.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I could just run bronze all day and get +4s, but I only got 1 out of the 100 runs that I did.
The mistake
still
here
not even the piece I need.
Only having one. The mistake here, I think, is only having one source of companion equipment. So, if you look at like armor, like basic gear, either you have multiple sources of endgame gear. Like, well, at some point you used to have multiple sources. Let's say with Underdog and Dragonflight and Elven. Well, Dragonflight was best, but whatever. You have always, but gear always has a decent drop rate. Like you can get it in a decent amount of time. Well, not in Mod 10, but they certainly learned from that, I hope. The problem here is
so as well.
Yeah, they're treating companion equipment, which should be something very basic. Like companion equipment is not something as rare as an artifact or artifact equipment. But they're treating it or rings from Underdog or Fangbreaker, but they're treating it to be as not as valuable, but as uncommon, as rare as that gear. And while it should really be something, okay, you have a seal shop, you run a certain amount of time, and you can choose for the one that you want. That because it is basic gear, it should be in this kind of category. I think that's the big problem with IG.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because I mean, it's not only, I mean, the RNG is brutal, and partially because you have like those 8 different types of gear you can get, and then another 6 type of stats, which makes it 48 something different pieces, and then you probably only need 3 specific ones, and then you're grinding for a really small chance of actually getting what you need. So it's also beyond me why they haven't made the Illusionist Gambit skirmish like a token-based system, where you just get seals and can buy the gear you need. So
because that'll be too easy.
Yeah, obviously
for us.
But I mean, Underdog, I don't get it, because like Underdog already was like really a pain in that area. I eventually got the legendary rings I wanted, but I got really lucky in Underdark. So I got like 3 legendary rings and I needed all of them. So, but this could have easily been 3 rings that I didn't need. And then, that would have sucked. And now with Illusionist Gambit, it's pretty much the same. And I don't get it why they let us run through the same content, Demogorgon, now Gambit, all, every day just for really a small chance of getting what we need.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The problem
do people in 12B even run the new skirmish, the Merchant Prince's Folly?
Oh yeah. I did run it. It offers good shirt and pants for alt characters, like 400
Is
Yes.
it
item
best
level.
in slot?
I would say for some setups.
Okay.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the shirt and pants, I mean, they aren't really great ones, so you can't do wrong with them, and they are item level 480 or something. I think
Yes.
480.
Yes.
So that's probably just based on the item level, it's an upgrade for most players already. So, and there are not too great other shirts and pants
I was going to
That
say
are
the same
easily
thing.
available.
Yeah.
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 Essentially they drop quite frequently, which is really good, and it's quite easy to equip alternate characters like other tunes with it
Yeah.
and give them a decent boost. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not quite the new Shores of Torn, but you can run it in under 5 minutes, and it has a decent chance to drop some salvage, in case you don't need the shirt or pants, and you get seals and you get Forgotten Totems. So I think just people are farming it because it's a great mix of stuff you can get.
Also, it's not that repetitive. I think they did a good job in making it not okay. It's your typical. You go into a new zone. There are new enemies. You kill them. You go into the next zone. You kill the next enemies. I think they did a good job in keeping it fresh. At least if you don't completely go overboard and just
That's all you do
only
for
run
like a
it.
week.
Yeah, if you only run that skirmish for a week, it will get boring. But it's another great skirmish to do, just if you want to do something really quick for like 10 minutes.
I might look into it, or I might try it once it drops for us.
It's
I do
okay.
like the skirmishes that we have. I mean, I really enjoyed Prophecy of Madness. I like the Throne of the Dwarven Gods.
Even then works, yeah.
I think those are probably my favorites. I mean, they can
you
do a
say,
lot
like-
with the skirmishes. But
Just
just
out is forgotten totems. Sorry, Nova, go.
no, were you saying about totems?
Hey, I think that's what Josh and Jay were saying is literally the reason most people are probably doing them is for the totems and getting the totems, which goes towards either their campaign or actually getting them the extra key for the dungeon of Tomb of the Nine Gods. Is it capped? Is it?
Yeah, it counts towards your weekly
man.
cap.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
obviously. Obviously.
Wait, so
At least it's
let me ask you
counted-
guys. For 12 for mod 12 for the campaign,
Yes.
did you guys complete all the tasks, or did you guys go down the middle path, everything on the right path, and not even worry about the hunts? Because I didn't even do the King of Spines campaign task. I just wasn't gonna do it.
Well, I was doing the Hunt's path with one character, and on my CW I did the Hunt path because I knew that I would have trouble getting into the Tomb of the Nine Gods with a class, and then I picked my Guardian fighter to run through the middle and unlocked the dungeon. So I did that 2-character thing. I split the campaign on 2 characters to have all the hunts unlocked, but also get into the Tomb of the Nine Gods as fast as possible.
And how fast was that for you? Because I think I got in there week 2 or week 3 because of the Shulton campaign.
Well, I mean, on PC we had that exploit with the campaign companion,
Broke it
so
out, yeah.
I think some might have been able to get into certain
Preach.
content sooner than they should have. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think the fastest way is 3 weeks for Tomb of the Nine Gods.
Without the companion. Like without
the companion,
yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think I did the math, and I think
It
I
should be
came up
3
with
weeks.
3 weeks.
It should be with 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because that companion was giving you past the cap.
Oh, it was on
And-
console too. Okay.
Yeah, if you accepted that, there's like a Shulton rewards pack in the
Oh, yeah.
in Protector's Enclave.
Yeah,
If you
same
got
as
the
PC.
companion, accepted that, you get 10% more than 50. And then if you did the weeklies, you would, and you just had to do it, I guess, for the right quest. And you just always got to have that companion. I mean, I don't use it anymore. I only used it to get into Tomb of the Nine Gods. And I mean, even right now, I barely even run the dungeon. There's no reason to until 12B comes for the stones.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
burn yourself out.
Exactly.
And even then, don't expect to drop a big amount of enchanting stones. Just don't.
Do they only drop from the bosses, or do they come from the chest too?
They only drop from the chest, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I got mine from the chest. So I mean, the boss drops the occasional refining stone, and then it's a blood ruby. I think it's quite nice.
It's good.
So
RP.
but yeah, the RP is great, but the enchanting stones, I mean, those are brutal. I'm not even balancing my characters.
No.
With rank 14s, I'm just building everything with rank 13s right now, because like getting enough stones. I mean, I think they're still 1 million on on PC.
And you need 3 of those per enchantment.
Yeah,
like,
you need 3 of those. So you're talking like, really, for one character currently on PC, just the ultimate enchanting stones, it's like 60 million for one.
Yeah. And it's just not
character.
It's just not reasonable. Plus, you can do everything with just rank 13 enchantments. It's fine. You can certainly do everything just fine with rank 13 enchantments.
Was it hard when 12B first dropped to do Tomb of the Nine Gods without rank 13s, without unparalleled weapon enchantments? Was it easy or was it difficult?
I don't think it was as difficult as people would have expected. If you know what you're doing and setting up your groups, and people relatively quickly got rank 13 enchantments.
So I can't just pug it? Damn.
Well, if you were able to do it before without too much trouble, you were probably able to do it afterwards in the same way. That's
I mean, the only I agree. I mean, the only thing you really need to pay attention to is armor penetration. I mean, if you got a sizable amount of armor penetration from your companion, then you might need to restock a bit, because your bondings will now transfer less. But other than that, I mean, the usual groups you run, which are buffing groups that have like a guardian fighter and an oathbound paladin and 2 DCs, I mean, you have enough protection anyway, so you don't have to care about that. And on the offensive side, it's just getting to your 100% crit chance. So that's just a minor reshuffling of enchantments and your character, and then you probably end up with a little less power. But I don't know. I mean, I think the runs overall will be about the same.
Yeah.
As before.
Plus, once you get sorry, I interrupted you.
No problem. Go ahead.
Also, once you actually complete, if you have a ring like Huntsman Assault Ring or even Primal Assault Ring, it's quite easy to rebalance for armor penetration. Like if you exchange one ring or one item that doesn't have armor penetration on your companion for one that does have a sizable amount of armor pen, again, you lose some power, but overall it's not that much more difficult.
I have my...
No, essentially not when you got everything to rank 13, then you're actually overall the same, like in terms of stats.
Yeah.
So it was not the catastrophe everybody was talking about.
Worried. I think that's what happened, what we're getting on Xbox, and I think probably PlayStation is that because everyone on PC have sort of been thrown into it. And as I said, while we had the little downtime to Jay, is that you are basically the guinea pigs. PC does try everything out and basically comes out with all the stories, the war stories of we had this, we did this, we should have done that. And then everyone on PlayStation and Xbox gets either the same problems or finds the solution that the PC people didn't have enough time to, and we get the solution. So like you say, now you've said it's not as hard. I think me and Nova, and same with Joshi and you two, will post about saying that it's not going to be as bad, and I think people will calm down, and knowing that they don't have to go to 14, even if you're able to. I don't even know whether we'll be able to.
They
doubt it.
They shouldn't
Not
worry
until
about
Mod
this.
14.
Like I view as someone who is not like hugely involved in the game. Like, I don't like gamble with the Zen exchange or gamble with item on the auction house or whatever. I'm not farming my ass off every day, or caching. I view rank 14s as a project like Strongholds, as if I would start a Stronghold from level 1. It's something that you do continuously over time. You wait until stuff has become cheaper. You wait until stuff is actually needed. And don't rush. Don't burn yourself out with this. Don't just overdo it. Don't lose fun in the game. It's not something that is supposed to be done in a quick amount of time.
Yeah, but I gotta have rank 14s day one, man. You don't know the struggle.
Of course. Why haven't we all? I'm surprised we haven't got them already, Nova.
No, seriously, I gotta have rank 14s, man. I gotta have them day one. I gotta be the best.
I think this is the point, isn't it? Like, we're talking about, Jay's literally just said the best thing, which is you wait. And I think that's the point of why they changed the refinement system, is because they were doing what Jay said, which was the waiting game, but everyone was doing it for the same week. And it just, it turned me off. Like, I played, that's why I have like a mixture of things, and everyone on live stream, I come in, I stream a game, and I'm sure it's the same for you as well, Nova. People are like, how do I get my item level up higher, and blah 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 blah. And the first thing I say is wait until double RP or whatever, and then we have this, and then we talk about it, how it's going to be a lot better, and you want to see your character progress slowly but surely. And as Jay said, you can't always change that 13, for example, a 13 into a 14, but at least you can see the refinement bar getting closer and closer and closer.
Oh, yeah.
So, which I like the idea. I mean, like I said, I've got a bag of all sorts.
Kind of like ranking up artifacts to mythic before even knowing about the feeder method. I used to just do it one by one.
Yeah, perfect. No, you got it bang on.
Like, I remember just watching that bar grow up so slowly. I'm like, I'm so close. And then I realized I wouldn't have the reagents to upgrade it. Then I have to wait again. Massive facepalm.
Like, honestly,
example.
If my personal impression of the refinement system, the new one, is RP is overall, like, I would say it's as fast to acquire as on Module 12. Maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit worse. No, I don't think it's worse. It would be overall better, essentially, with like Dragon Horse and Quartermasters like regaining some importance. The insignia bonus that gives you RP, really good. You drop good amounts of RP from Tomb of the Nine Gods, for example. It's overall at least as good as it was before, or slightly better, to acquire RP, but to actually upgrade enchantments and everything, it is so much easier. Like, I can't stress how much easier it is to get an enchantment to rank 12, to rank 10, to rank 13 also.
Because you don't have those double 8s, double 9s.
You don't need double 8s, 9s, and 10. Yeah, no, you don't need 10s. But yeah, you
something
don't have those
I did
anymore.
always tell.
Yeah, you don't have those anymore.
Said to people.
Also, the upgrade chances for lower rank enchantments have been increased across the board. So it is for people who are not, for people who don't have rank 12s yet, it is fantastic. It is actually a really good system to let those catch up. And for people who have rank 12s, you can achieve rank 13 in a reasonable amount of time and with a reasonable amount of investment. Just be sure to stock up on wards. 14
so we got the Winter Festival.
Yeah, 14 is only for, I would say, people who have way too much money. Because it's a lot of commitment. Like, it's so much resources. Not from the RP, just from the enchanting stones. It's a 1% chance, I think. Right? Yeah, you need a cold ward. You need 3 enchanting stones from Tomb of the Nine Gods, and it's not needed. That's my personal opinion. I think it's not needed, and I think it's a good thing because like for the majority of the player base, because for the majority it will be easier. For people who who force themselves to be best in slot all the time, it will be a nightmare. Or they have too much, or they have enough money. I don't know, but if you just look at it the way 13 is enough. Get to 13. It's even 12 is in some cases still enough, depending on what setup you play. It is easier to get there, and I wouldn't fear too much about the new system.
Just pretty much try to get to 14 by mod 13. So
That
that's
would
like
be
almost a year.
That could. I'm not planning to be rank 14 by mod 13, but you certainly can.
Oh well, yeah, it's that far off for you guys.
certainly
I mean,
can.
I think for console, I mean, we don't even know when mod 13 would be released, but I'm probably June, August, maybe.
Let me
for
say, okay,
PC.
you can certainly get from 13 to 14 on your, let's say, bonding enchantments and bonding runestones and offensive enchantments in your companion. That's certainly a thing that you can do. But
And you would, and we would definitely have to do that first, obviously.
yeah, well, those are the first ones that you would upgrade to 14. But again, you don't actually need 14. It's
Yeah.
fine to do. Like the new system, people saw the bonding runestone nerf. Oh no, we will lose stats and blah blah blah. The game is still playable. Like it is not the end of the world.
It's gonna be the end of the world when you're running that Tomb of the Nine Gods for like the 80th time and you don't get a stone. That's gonna be the
Well-
worst. I'm actually dreading it just thinking about it right now because I have
Or you are
really,
lucky.
really bad luck. No,
But
you
maybe
don't
you're
know.
lucky and they adjust the drop rates before Mod 12b hits on consoles. Because, I mean, again, the stones are 1 million on PC. I think that's way too much.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I
It's
said
almost as much as a rank 12 used to be.
yeah, exactly. So, and it's just one stone. You know, obviously, you have all the people. The demand is there, so the price is high. But still, I mean, 1 million is just insane.
Unreasonable.
So, yeah, and I mean, if I would get stones right now, I would just sell them.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't even care about like upgrading my own stuff. Just sell them. You're getting 1 million ADs for a drop, and
which you
And
know
they-
is going to come down.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Plus, you can run Tomb of the Nine Gods with ranked 13 enchantments, and there's no content at the moment that would require you to have rank 14 throughout your character. So why even bother? Like, I said to myself, okay, when they come down to like 300k, 400k, I would buy them. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, definitely. That's
But
cheap.
1 million and it's like slightly lower, that's just unreasonable for me, at least.
I think they should drop it out of more places too. I mean, we it only comes out of the dungeon chest
Yes,
and
I think both dungeon chests.
both dungeon chests. So there's only 2 places that you can get them. I think what they should do is
Well, you
either
can
allow it to be dropped from the boss or
lockbox.
lockbox.
They do,
or maybe
they do drop
even
from the no lockbox.
Oh, they do.
Yes, I think from the artifact pack, if I'm not
The
mistaken.
artifact pack.
But
yeah,
it
do
also,
you want to know the drop chance?
yeah, it's
from the
it's
artifact
abysmal.
pack?
It's abysmal.
Let me know what's the drop
It's
chance.
one of
Let's
it's one
hear
of
it.
those it's one of those drops that doesn't drop. Actually, I mean, I think it's below 1%. It's
Yeah,
I
it is.
mean,
Uh,
it's really stupid.
yeah, my friend and YouTube colleague
It's a key amount.
Sevia dropped one on the first he opened.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like day one, opened the first lockbox. Oh, I got the new enchanting stone.
He is so lucky with these lock boxes. Like I
So-
don't know if you
He's
guys
sat
remember.
edge, like, it's easy.
You guys remember Schmud the Darth? You guys remember him?
No.
Oh man, he was a Neverwinter YouTuber, and every day, I think it was every day or almost every other day, he would open up I think almost 100 lock boxes and just sell everything, show you what you can get, talk about the game. I don't know. I just really liked seeing other people open lock boxes and see how lucky they can get because my luck is just trash.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the lockboxes.
Yeah,
Like, I wanted to do a massive lockbox opening, but I just
that's also
know I'm not gonna get shit.
yeah, that's also where you see all of the admin messages popping up. Oh, this guy got that on that. Yeah, cool.
Oh, bullshit.
It's just the enticement, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just that.
Like I really want to get that flying carpet, and I'm actually mad that it's not flying. Like, how are they gonna take a flying carpet from D&D that actually flies and not make it fly in Neverwinter? That was a huge slap in my
flying
face.
mounts would totally break the game. That's just
okay. Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, if they did
Just mythic
For
mounts then. We can get mythic mounts. They don't gotta be flying. I'll be fine with that.
Don't give them ideas, please.
maybe
Just put them in the
maybe
Zen
if they
market.
just did it in certain areas,
Yeah,
like if they made a
that's
whole
the thing
new
I can
section of the map which could only fly
Yeah.
in that because they had like parts of it or whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing that I
But-
can see them do.
Like a new hub world.
Yeah, similar.
Spinwood Rise. Spinwood Rise is perfect, right? Because you have the little the like not elevators, but you jump, don't you? And then you hold jump, and your character keeps floating up. Even something like that can only be used with that mount. I don't
Yeah, that
know.
would be cool. I would like that. That would be interesting.
They
to
could
see.
do it in like a
Like-
map similar to what they did with Sea of Moving Ice, like which was the only map you could use boats. Which I can see them do a flying mount map that has a lot of verticality. That could be fun.
I mean, you
But
could
yeah.
break it down like end game of it. You could have two mounts. You could have like a movement mount and a flying mount. So you have certain areas which you go into, which you only have, like you say, kayaks. They had that the same way. They had a basic mount. They had a rare, basic kayak. Then they had the rare one, didn't they? That you could buy off a merchant. And then they had the epic one you could find. So I mean, they've already done it with that. So could they not do it? I guess they could if they really
They
wanted
could.
to.
The thing is, it has to be based on some sort of D&D story, and if
Yeah,
Wizards
I
of the
think-
Coast at some point releases a module where you can actually that focuses on flying, like let's say a
Well, they
city
have
in the clouds,
past.
whatever, that has a core piece where you have a flying mount, then yeah, you can. They will certainly pick that up, but otherwise, I don't see them doing it. Like speaking of which, should we talk also about what we think will come actually with Mod 13?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
You
I know
go
that-
first.
Me or you say Jay?
Go on, Nova, if you're happy to go forward.
Oh yeah, I'll go forward. Mod 13. I know that we're getting Scourge Warlock class balancing, which leads me to believe that with the other classes we had in the past that got class balancing, which was the TR, the Cleric, and the Hunter Ranger, were the last three recent ones. I could be wrong.
No, Guardian Fighter. Instead
Guardian
of
Fighter?
Trickster Rock, we did not have Trickster Rock yet.
Okay. So I'm thinking that with the Scourge Warlock balancing, slowly inching closer to when they start revealing more information, they might give us more information about the, I guess, Trickster Rogue, because that's been on the list. Hopefully not the Guardian Fighter, because I saw somebody complaining about the Guardian Fighter, how he got out DPS by a GF on the forums, and now he wants the GF to get nerfed. Bullshit. Don't do it. Mod 13, I'm really hoping that they give us a lot of content, because one thing that Thomas has said on multiple different occasions is that Mod 13 is going to be very meaty, and he didn't specify what he meant by meaty. But if we're talking about the Neverwinter game, I would assume that means more content, more meaty content. So maybe we can get 5 new pieces of endgame content, 3 dungeons, a raid, and a skirmish.
That would be a wish come true.
Yeah, because he can't. He's been saying Mod 13 is going to be meaty. It's going to be huge. It's going to be big. But how's it going to be big? Don't give us a big campaign. Nobody wants that. And I hope they understand that nobody wants to go through campaigns over and over again for like the 13th mod in a row.
Yeah, I mean,
I would like a new class though too. That Bard Mod 13.
Let's talk story. In the Tomb of Annihilation in Dungeons and Dragons, the released book, like the adventure book, we are not at the end of that. Like, okay, we
not even close.
ventured into one part of the Tomb of the Nine Gods, but Azerarak, the main villain, who controls the Soulmonger, is still very much kicking, and the Soulmonger is still applying the death curse to everybody. So I am just assuming that we will get some sort of conclusion, probably with Mod 13. Like, we will get content that revolves around destroying the Soulmonger.
It would have to be a lot, because there's a lot in the
Oh yeah,
journey
well,
to the end of it.
the Tomb of the Nine Gods is massive, and that also explains sort of why we were able to enter it from the Star River map, because actually the tomb's main part is under the city of Omu.
Yep.
And my prediction is going to be, okay, we will get a new map, which will be Omu, this lost city of Omu. We will get another part of the Tomb of the Nine Gods, and I'm hoping for another for a trial following that to fight the Atropal, which is feasting
The Atropal,
on the souls.
I would like, because I mean, taking what happened in mod 10, where we were fighting the dragon turtle as a heroic encounter, and then it came back as a dungeon or a dungeon boss in FBI. The dinosaur in Schult more than likely is going to be another boss in mod 13.
Yeah.
Because it's doing the same thing that the dragon turtle did. It leaves after 2 bars of health, and the last time we saw that, the dragon turtle returned as a boss. So it could be like we could fight the dinosaur again, the King of Spines, and with the lost city of Omu, there's just so much content, so much story to be made. And I mean, you have Valindra, you have the Night Serpent, you have the 9 gods. You could, and there's actually multiple different merchant princes in Schult, and each of them have their own reason. And it's interesting because you can actually go back to Waterdeep too, which is kind of the reason why I think why Neverwinter tweeted about the Bard, is because artist Simber and Dragonbait, I forgot who they came from, Sindra Sylvain. They came from Sindra Sylvain to help with the death curse, to help put a stop to it. So you can actually go back and deal with artists with the Ring of Winter and Drufi, or go.
Oh, hello.
Lindra.
Oh.
Do.
Nova? Am I lagging or?
No, we've lost him again.
Aw.
Sorry, that was cutting in and out. What did you say?
Oh yeah. I think you were lagging for some time.
Rip.
Yeah, but
I was saying,
there's so much more that we haven't touched yet. Yeah, I agree. The thing that Valindra is actually in the Tomb of the Nine Gods adventure book, Tomb of Annihilation, sorry, is really fascinating to me because, well, that's Neverwinter's old nemesis. Bringing her back would certainly be something they could strive to do at some point, because it puts a good arc to the beginning of the game, to the first modules.
And we haven't even been in the entire Valindra's tower. I mean, you can go in that tower now and see doors and other locations that you can't get into.
Yeah, like bringing bringing her back is certainly something I could see them doing. So it puts a good.
I would like to see her back.
Valindra is a good enemy. It's well fitting for the game. But again, my predictions for mod 13: we will see an extension of the hunt system. We will get the new map, Lost City of Omu. I'm really excited about it. We will get a new dungeon, which is maybe another part of the Tomb of the Nine Gods, and a fight against the Atropal, or we will get a trial that's against the Atropal, and maybe we'll also fight a Sararak. I don't know.
Well, a Sararak comes later. He would have to come later after
the Soulmonger. Yeah. So maybe we'll get a dungeon where we defeat the Soulmonger, and then a trial where we fight a Sararak. Something like that. But there's also so much more possible within the story. I could see them, like, there's easily room for adding like multiple skirmishes, or I don't think multiple dungeons, but it's easy. It's an easy setup for multiple skirmishes, for example.
Wouldn't be like mini dungeons, like like what mod 11 have with the demi-planes
in Omu. Perfect way to actually extend the map. And well, they also kind of did that with the Sojin Star River with all the ruins. I'm hoping they will bring that back too, because I think the ruins are one of the best looking parts of the new map, actually. Mm-hmm. And like, there is so much potential. But my prediction is, okay, we get the new map, we get a new map dynamic, or hunts again, I don't mind, and a new endgame dungeon and a new trial. Like, that's my prediction.
I would hope that the trial isn't just a one-room trial. I don't want to have a repeat of MSVA and Demogorgon. I want to, explore, travel. I don't want to just stay in one room.
I think personally, like you were saying, Nova, I think that they need to do that. Like, they've done such a good job with Tome of Annihilation, where they've got, Tome of the Nine Gods, where you've got the first puzzle room, which it hardly ever changes, which we understand, but then you get the other little puzzles in between, and I think that's good because you can either do them, or some people just like, no, I don't like the timing on that. But if you add something like that into a trial, so say, for example, you first all start the trial as 5 people groups, and you have to meet up at the end to do a fight maybe, or you somehow halfway through get split up, like something like that. They need to add something in which changes the dynamic. Like they deliberately made the Tomb of the Nine Gods different from the rest of the dungeons because everyone was bored of the same thing. Run through this corridor, kill these people, kill that boss, kill the next lot of people, kill the next boss. Like, you were bored. Like, that's why personally I enjoy Orcus and Castle Never. I mean, they're only the green orbs of Doom or whatever you want to call them, but it adds something different. It's something that isn't just the same basic go through a room, kill, open door, kill, next thing. It's like something different.
Yeah, the randomness in Tomb of the Gods is really well made, and I think they should 100% continue down that line. Like, even a tiny bit of randomness, even like, okay, changing the weather and the date, the time of day, when you do the patrol quests in Port 9 Zaro, even that adds to content staying fresh for at least some more time.
Zaro?
The patrol quests, some of them are important in Zaro. Like where you kill the pirates and everything. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, sorry. Well, the weather changes, or it's a different time of day, or you start the map from a different part, and the chest that you have to find is always in a different location. Things like that add to the game staying fresh for a longer time. And if we think about it, the campaign setup of Mod 12 was, I think, the best that we had so far, allowing players a lot of freedom. No daily grind. You can choose when to do what in the week, and I'm really hoping that they're continuing down that path.
Yeah, the new campaign, I agreed with that. The being able to complete what you need to complete in a week, that 7-day time frame is good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I rushed for like the first week or two, trying to get everything done, and then just having nothing else to do for the rest of the week kind of sucked. So being able to expand it for a couple of days, take some breaks here and there, that's good. It felt refreshing, it felt good, and it felt fun, instead of having to cram everything in like a 6-hour time frame where I only have that long to play. It sucked to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we were getting mixed reviews on the campaign as well. I mean, I felt like it was a great concept because this game really, with every module, just got more and more unfriendly. And I thought like a campaign where you really only have to do, or can do everything on one day, is just great for maintaining alts. But I know a bunch of players that are, those hardcore end game population. They play one character and have him like upgraded, to the end. And those players run into issues because, well, like you said, you can do the campaign on one day, and then what are you doing on the other 6, right? So yeah. I personally feel it's great, but I get that it's not the best setup for a decent amount of the population. So you probably have to mix it up again a little bit. So I'm not sure whether the next campaign should be, although I like it, but I'm not sure it's the best for the players to continue this path. So yeah.
I think we all can agree that with the next campaign, which there probably will be a place for us to get a key from there, the key shouldn't be on a time lock. It shouldn't be on a time lock. It should just be the currency to get the key, and then once you have enough currency, you can craft the key. It should take about 4 to 6 hours at least, minimum.
That's
not 20 hours. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
That, again, it's like what Joshua was just saying about whole time thing, isn't it? Like you don't want to run out, you don't want to burn out too quickly, but at the same time, you don't want to burn out too quickly on stuff you don't want to be doing. Like everybody wants to be doing the dungeon because it's either getting them AD to buy something that they want or they're getting something. And the key, that's it. You get 1 key a day, dungeon done. There's no, you want to try and max it out properly and do it, not spending extra AD to buy legendary keys and waiting for stuff.
Which I think is a waste right now. I don't want people to buy legendary dragon keys. They just craft the keys. I mean, you're only using, after you complete the campaign, you should automatically be getting at least 170 totems, and that's almost 6 or 7 keys that you can craft within 7 days. So you should have enough keys by the time Mod12b drops for console in order to run Tomb of the Nine Gods.
Yeah. Also,
still people buying keys. Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
With Module 12b, the task that will give you a Tomb of the Nine God key will also always give you a key for the Merchant Prince skirmish. So you get 2 keys from the same task.
Oh,
okay. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little bit better.
Yeah.
That is a little bit better.
Yeah, also in terms...
So there's 2 chests then.
Yeah. Also in terms of upcoming stuff and keys, the devs already announced that they want to change the whole campaign key system. So that you don't have specific keys for specific content any longer. They don't... they haven't hinted to specifics, but probably that whole system is going to get changed. And the other thing related to Mod 13 is that we will also get a fashion tab. I think that's also set in stone. I don't know whether that will hit in Mod 13 or 13b, but that's coming as well. That's pretty much confirmed.
You said a professions tab?
Fashion.
I'm sorry, a fashion tab. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
So
like
some sort of wardrobe or fashion tab. I don't know, but yeah, they are
is that what we really need?
I don't know.
I love it. I mean, no, but just like what?
Yeah.
No way.
Well, some people were very vocal about it, I think, and
yeah, but the thing is, they listen to people on the forums who, like, no disrespect to them, but a lot of people on the forums, they're there to complain about. Yeah. Minor and small things, like what I was saying earlier recently that people have been posting on Reddit a lot, is that the GF might get nerfed because somebody's on there complaining that he got out DPS by a GF. And it's like they listen to more people on the forums than, a lot of PC guys like, Jay and Joshy, who are testing things, diligently and do it.
I'm not part of the testing community.
Or making
awesome
videos, these fly-through videos. Yeah. But it's like they're not. I feel like they need to not only. They can listen to the people on the forums, but they also need to check Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, because everybody. Especially Discord. Everybody has suggestions and things that are gonna make the game better. But I feel like they're only listening to a selective few people on their website, which is why I said in one of my latest videos, go over there, speak your mind, say what you got to say, because they listen to you guys more there than they do here.
Well, they should be listening to, mostly to a selective base, but they should choose the correct base, is what I'm saying. They should listen to the testing community most of all, I think. And I can understand the wardrobe from a developer's point of view. Essentially, bringing in a new feature that is offers players something, even a few select players with a wardrobe, offers those players something new, will keep players on average more in the game, and keep new players more in the game than fixing a couple bugs, because those are system designers working on the wardrobe, and they have a number of system designers and a number of content designers. So if system designers are open, well, they might as well do something like this. I can understand from that point of view.
I mean, it's something. I mean, do I personally need it or want it? No, but I get that I think it's an important system for an MMORPG because a lot of money is generated with cosmetics. And I think it's really an underrated aspect of how monetization works.
yeah.
Like people want to buy fashion, people want to buy colors
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
crazy.
And having a fashion tab is basically the basis to build a rich customization feature into the game. So while I personally don't need it, or I probably won't use it even, I think for the game it's great to have something like this so they can sell more fashion and more dyes and stuff like that. So I would be happy to have something like that just for the sake of the game in general.
Yeah, I can see that. Ideally, I think
mean-
we would. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Jay, go.
Ideally, I think we would want them to switch over from a system that says, okay, the Zen store there are items in the game that you can only get in the Zen store that you need to progress, to a system where it says, okay, you can achieve those items easier through regular play, but there's a whole new cosmetics shop, and yeah, people can go buy those. I'm fine with having microtransactions that give you only cosmetics which don't get you actual advantages, But and if we were able to complete a transition over to that system, that would be ideal for the player base, honestly.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think me and Nova pretty much sat on the same bench. It's like Josh was saying, is it something we need, want, or actually are going to use? Probably not. And they are feeding into a small market, but they can push, once it's done, they can then thrive and probably open up new doors once it's done, which I think is okay. I mean, if I think about it, the amount of times I've bought stuff like fashion items and I've got them and I've had to chuck them away because I know I can only have one. I mean, I would have them. Let's be honest. I've not been that possessive over the item that I've kept it in my personal bank slot. I have been fine just chucking it away. So it's one of those things, isn't it?
They could add on to the fashion with the guild decorations. I mean, you can maybe consider that to be fashion because it's decorating your guild. So we could add things into there and save them for later for certain events, like during the winter festival. You could take out all of your winter style guild decorations and then put them back later inside the fashion tab because you can consider it to be fashion. So they could add more things like chairs, desks, I don't know, couches. Do they have couches in D&D? They should have couches. Need somewhere to sit.
Yeah, probably.
Gotta have a good fireplace. Some beer. Add some beer to the to the fashion tab.
Some beverages.
Well, yeah, we did
that would be,
didn't we?
That would be
Trying to have
did
a
have that.
feast.
We had you could drink. You could drink, couldn't you? Because you had people running around and doing all sorts of them.
You can drink.
Oh yeah, well yeah, we have that drunk feature. Is it an emote?
No, it's a beverage. You can drink it, and after certain.
It was part of one of the campaigns, wasn't it?
Shroud of Souls, the storyline.
Yeah.
Where you are in the shadow version of Neverwinter. There's a vendor that sells that beer. I think.
Were we?
I remember.
I never did that storyline. I completely skipped it.
Yeah, well, there is a vendor. I think there's also a different place where you can get it, but I wouldn't know where that is. Well,
in
the
Protector's
thing,
Enclave, you had to go there for like a little bit.
The thing with the guild hall is sort of the same example. It just adds design space for the devs to add stuff. Well, okay, here is a new event, or here's an event that now has additional decorations for the guild, or it has additional fashion, or whatever. I think it's fine. It's not something that most people will use, but I guess it's fine to have. And as a whole, looking at past updates as a whole, starting with strongholds, then alliances, then things like patronage, loadouts, and everything. I think we should appreciate that they are working on the systems and redesigning the systems and making them better. Like, that's not something that was previously in the game, pretty much. Like, they didn't do that prior to those updates, really. And I think that's a good approach to the game, because it desperately needed that. Now, once those systems are in place, I'm all for, let's give us 5 dungeons in a new module. Like, come on, hit us, you know? But until then,
was something.
Yeah, and until then, they have to lay the systematic foundations, essentially, of the game. I don't know how.
I mean, since you were talking about guilds, Jay, you might know, since you have the Tomb of Annihilation player book, but in Schult they have housing, but what we would call is player housing, and I guess this kind of goes to the Mod 13 prediction. I think we might get player housing, because if you go to Schult, or not Schult, Port 9 Zaru, there's a little section behind there by Celeste that has houses, and they look like houses. I could be wrong, but it says that this section would be available later in a later module. And when the adventurers are traveling to Schult, one of the merchant princes actually gives them a place to stay. So I think, with Mod 13, we might actually get some form of player housing. And I think the start of that came from when they opened up the guild hall.
I think we will get player housing at some point. I don't know if we will get it with Mod 13, but I think it is something that will definitely come at some point.
Yeah.
A lot of role playing would go on with those player houses.
Oh yeah.
No more Moonstone Mask.
Oh god, don't remind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a video coming out by CV and me having fun Moonstone Mask. It's just weird.
Moonstone Mask is the place to be. You need to have like a theater play, like a huge ass theater. You can just sit down, watch people role play. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
But there's one last thing though, that I wanted to mention. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bardic Inspiration. It's a feature from the bards. Jay, do you know?
Yeah,
that?
it's probably the most basic class feature of the bard.
Okay. Do you think that they could implement that some way with the bard? Because since there's 7 different inspirations, I feel like it could be something with, instead of having 7, that's way too much to cycle through, maybe like 3 or 4, but kind of like the Devoted Cleric's Divinity. How you're using your divinity to charge your powers and use them. I think they could do something with that, with Bardic Inspiration, using the same layout. And if you want to get a boost to your damage, you use like the first one or the second one. And when you use all 3, all your stacks are consumed. I think that would be pretty interesting, because the Bard is such a versatile class. There's so much you can do with it.
Well, essentially, Bardic Inspiration, starting from a, like in D&D, a low-level Bard, Bardic Inspiration is something the Bard can actually essentially add a bonus die to an allied die roll. Like if they want to do a skill check, if they want to do an attack, or if they want to do a saving throw, he can add that to the allied player. Then at some point, like, he gets more charges per day. At some point he can boost himself, even while no ally is nearby. He can use Bardic Inspiration on himself, essentially. Then at some point he can consume like charges of Bardic Inspiration for other bonuses. And yeah, I can really see it becoming a core class mechanic, because in D&D it's available, I think, from level 1 for bards in
it's level 1 and level 3.
What?
That was no, wait. Level 3 is the colleges. It might be level.
Yeah,
1.
level 3 should be the. I think Bardic Inspiration is from level 1. Wait,
Because
I'm dumb. I have it right here. I have it right here.
Because the Bard colleges would have to be.
Yeah, Bard College is level 3, and Bardic Inspiration is level 1. And
So you get.
The extra die that you get from Bardic Inspiration just gets stronger. The further he levels up. Hello?
I think
Nova?
I'm cutting out. But I was saying, the Bard colleges should be the Paragon path, and then for level 3, it should be where you get introduced to Bardic inspiration, like how the clerics at the 3rd rank for their powers, they get divinity, control wizards get spell mastery. I'm not sure what paladins get. What do you get as a paladin, LZ?
I think it's also divinity, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Is it divinity?
Well, D&D has 20 levels, so how that translates into 70 levels is obviously different. I mean, they could give us Bardic inspiration from level 10. It could be your class mechanic, like what we on PC have on tap. And
there's like no other way to do it, though. It was either Bardic inspiration or expertise, maybe.
Well,
one of the two.
Well, expertise is, I think, only just adding more bonuses to skill checks. I don't know if it's like a bard only thing. But yeah, Bardic inspiration would probably be the core class mechanic if they do a bard.
I really hope they do. Like I'm pushing.
I mean,
for this bard.
This is the thing though, because I know I've got a harper bard, and he already has Bardic inspiration as one of his little like feat power things. That he uses.
Oh yeah.
Does he?
Shit. Yeah, one of his active powers is Bardic inspiration.
I want to see this. What is it?
And there was I don't know whether they fixed it, but they had a problem with either that one or another one, which is a buff or debuff. There was a problem with it. I don't know whether they fixed it, but
you said it was a Harper Bard, right?
Yeah, Harper Bard.
It's the companion.
He has Bardic inspiration, as Jay said.
Oh, yeah,
so I don't know whether that would be a complication in it, or whether they could just simply change the tooltips.
Yeah, I think they could just change the name.
And I see here that the Harper Bard also has Song of Rest, which is a huge thing for a bard.
Yeah, it is. It is good.
Yeah,
it's a strong bard spell. Well, that now that you just mentioned that, that would certainly speak against the bard being the class for Module 13, I think.
Do you think it would speak against it? Why?
Yeah. Well, because if they already have, I mean, okay, it wouldn't be too much to change that, like too much to change the Harper Bard, but
well, they wouldn't even need to change it. They could just they could keep Bardic Inspiration and Song of Rest on the Harper Bard, and then with the introduction of the new Bard class, they could also give those same abilities to the Bard, and then if somebody has that Bard, it could boost the effects of these spells.
Do you really want to have the same spells as a companion? Like, people were already mad when they recycled the animations for the Paladin from the Guardian Fighter.
Rip.
And I am so angry still. I'm still so angry. No, the amount of times I literally don't even want to talk about it. I'm so done. I'm literally done right now on it. It's just the most. Oh God, it's so broken. Yeah. It's literally the most broken.
The wounds are still fresh after 6 modules.
Every time. Any dungeon I'm in, literally every dungeon I'm in, I mention it on the stream all the time. It's just there's time. I mean, it used to be way worse. It used to lock in the Guardian Fighter animation, and your Paladin would just have his arm above his head, and he'd just take full damage, nothing, and he wouldn't even have Sanctuary up, nothing. He wouldn't do anything. And now it's you put your dodge or whatever you do, and he puts his shield down, and then he changes his stance again. So it's like half a second where he has a shield up, no Sanctuary, does nothing, doesn't defend any extra, and just then that half second goes and Sanctuary's up and he's fine. But the amount of times that I can see Orcus pulls his hand up and I go into it and he drops the shield, he's ready, actually working. That.
Well, there you have it.
I don't get how they haven't changed it yet. That's what gets me.
Because they're working on campaigns, man.
Well, yeah, fixing old bugs brings way less in terms of like for new players or keeping players in the game than adding more content, which I can see why it is sort of correct from a business point of view, but it's obviously shitty for players.
something like that, but something like that, right? If we go off that basis,
Yeah.
surely you're still going to be irritated whether you're a new or old player.
Yeah.
With a bug like that, which affects you because you die at the end of the dungeon that you really wanted to do, or you die in the area because you're trying your best to get through the new area because of that feature.
I also think that is one of the reasons why it took them so long. Like, I want this to be one of the reasons why it took them so long to introduce a new class, because I want them to do it correctly this time.
I would love for it to be done correctly.
Don't know bubble pallies and everybody.
Don't remind me.
Oh, that bubble! All right, the bubble was OP, but it was so fucking good.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Good to run through anything. You literally couldn't die. You were a god. You were literally a god and could not die. PvP and PvE.
Yeah.
Fun times.
You know,
Fun times.
Luckily
30 seconds on the bubble, and then
just have at
binding
it.
And then have like the devoted cleric sigil, then have AP gain companions, and then the flail snail mount bonus.
Uptime.
Oh my god. Tomb of the Nine Gods would literally stand nothing against the bubble paladin. Nothing. I mean, you can still get shot through it at Rosnisi's final attack. It's actually kind of annoying.
Yeah, or fall off the platform. But other than that, it's just it didn't get you anywhere.
Yeah, I have to say I'm glad that they've done it. It felt, I think the worst thing was like they didn't even drag it down to what it is now. They had to go through like the testing phase. So they had to pull it down a bit and see what everyone's reaction was and see how they were in dungeons. And then they realized it was still too good. So they had to pull it down again. And then once more. It's just like, worse.
Yeah,
is it gonna get any worse?
They didn't want to have like a massive outrage.
Yeah. I mean, like Jay was saying about them getting it right. I think with the next class, I really think that they might get it right this time, because they've already been telling us about getting rid of the 2 DC meta, and that's obviously going to come after the class balance and after the Scourge Warlock. Might be Mod 13b, might be Mod 14, but with the class balance, with getting rid of the 2 DCs, there's gonna have to be another class to take on the role of being that second DC that they want to get rid of.
Space. But there are other buff classes. Not that we don't have other buff classes in the game.
Well, I mean,
but I agree.
Do you want a buff control wizard? I mean, because if I'm being honest, the buff control wizard is pretty ass. I mean, if you're running endgame, well, you don't need to get the bonus from chaos or chaotic magic.
Okay, let me phrase it differently.
The armor penetration and the critical chance. You're already at 100. You're already at 85. You don't need more.
I think there's certainly room for other buff classes than just the devoted cleric, and they could just look 100%. At the control wizard and change up with a couple of things, or give the buff paladin another shot without him being a main tank.
Nah, don't give anything to the paladins. They haven't enough love. Control wizards haven't had any love since Mod 5.
I'm not saying I'm not saying just buff the paladin. I don't like the class. Sorry, you mean paladin?
Yeah,
I don't.
I can understand why people don't like it. I understand why people don't like it.
I could see them say, okay, let's get rid of the ability of the paladin to tank with the offensive path, and introduce a proper buff path for the paladin, or something like, or whatever, a new class that can buff whatever. Getting rid of the double DC meta could certainly give us more space for other classes in the group compositions. Maybe even a second DPS. Who knows? But
I just think that the renegade path is there's not many feats in there that are useful for end game, because you should already be at that 100% and 85%. I mean, they could switch it around and give us I don't know, what do you guys like, recovery, or we already have power share. But I think recovery could be pretty important if the Guardian Fighter doesn't have the encounter cooldowns. But there's really certain stats that they would need to change.
He's got the recovery stuff. He's got so much recovery stuff, it's unreal. It's literally, I never could get my head around when people were like, about the AP gain, and people were like, for Bubble Paladin, you need to have like 9,000 recovery, and I'm just sitting there fully fully 100% uptime with the bubble, and I'm there with like 2,500 recovery. I'm like, yeah, you just pick your feet right and you're fine, and you're helping the rest of the group as well. There's one in there which gives you flash of light, I think it is, which gives everybody else 25% cooldown reduction. I mean, 25%.
It's crazy.
I think it is flash of light because it procs almost instantly, almost a lot.
Every time you get its backup ready, it goes straight away.
I think a buff class would be nice. It would be nice, but you know, as we know, they gotta fix the current classes. I think they should stop with the nerfs and just buff all the other classes to the same level of whatever class is currently OP right now.
But yeah, then you have the hundreds of great weapon fighters complaining all over the forums because the only thing the great weapon fighter can do is deal damage. Let's just face it, it's the only thing they can do.
About, if they're gonna get buffed, what would they complain about?
Well, they're the strongest class at the moment. So if you buff everybody else, then and other classes can do the same damage, then you have such an outcry. Oh my god. They would storm
out DPS by a 12k wizard. I got out DPS by a 9k guardian fighter. Nerf.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say is with the buffing, like, don't continue to nerf it. I think what they should do is just buff all the classes to the current endgame content, because we still haven't got scalable content. We still haven't gotten a legendary dungeon, even though Tomb of the Nine Gods and FBI was supposed to be the legendary dungeon. It's
I think you can say Tomb of the Nine Gods is a legendary dungeon. Well, it's certainly above a tier. It's certainly a tier above the other ones.
Okay, true. Okay, so it is a legendary dungeon, but
well, depending.
I think they should scale it up to that. Like, if they were to introduce another dungeon, like let's just say Dreadvault, I hope it comes back. I think they should scale everything to what's in the Dreadvault for endgame. You know, like scale the mobs to 75 or 80 if we have another level cap. That's probably going too deep into it, but the content is too easy right now. I mean, people are even speedrunning Tomb of the Nine Gods in 10 minutes on console and PC. So it's clear that the content isn't hard enough, even with all the changes.
But I think if you look at it the other way around, though, Nova, you look at it like the majority of people who come and watch your stuff or come and comment on your videos, what are they? Are they end game or are they below average?
Average, below average, a little bit of end game.
And that's the problem. For them, none of them are going to be doing 13 and 10 second runs. They're not even going to be able to get into one, let alone finish it. So I think the problem is the devs have got a problem. They're fighting once again between two divides. They're coming against the people who have played the game for ages and ages, like us lot in here, who do everything end game, finish everything, and are happy to do dungeons as quick as possible. And then you've got the other end of the spectrum, which they've also got to fill in, which is the people who have just started or have not got the funds or the time to be able to play it all the time. And their group of people, like, you don't see a stronghold of like TLO people, and in their alliance they've got a group of people who have only just started this week. You never see that. It's like they are just completely divided. The amount of people that I have in my streams who say, I have a problem with I get kicked halfway through a dungeon, I'm not the right class, or people only want specific classes, or only people who are above a certain item level. Like, that's the type of community that we have, but it's the type of people and the type of gameplay. If you make it so hard that only the end game people will play, then these poor people who or not poor people, but unfortunate people who who want to try and do that stuff, who want to be up there, they can't even get there. They've got to wait until the new stuff comes out for that next dungeon to be the second best, not the hardest. It's got to be the second hardest to be able to get into it.
I agree there. I mean, I call that small game problems, because the devs can only do so much, right? So, and obviously in bigger games, like let's say World of Warcraft, when they have drop an expansion, you have like 10 dungeons for every tier of player, so everyone can get into a dungeon and have some fun. And you have those raids for those endgame guilds and stuff like that. And obviously in Neverwinter, being a small game, I mean, we probably will only see one dungeon in module 13 again. So it's always a question whether you design content for your endgame players or if you design content for like those middle tier players, casuals. So and that's that's just those small game problems that you can't make it right with having so little resources available. And I agree. I personally, me as a player, I would love to have harder content. But I know that you can only not just add and add and add on top of the content we have, because a bunch of players are not even able to consistently run FBI and stuff like that. And you have to cater to those players as well, because otherwise all your casuals will just leave the game, and that's not great either.
Battle, isn't it, that you gotta they're trying to measure up. I think you're right, Nova. We do want to see that, but then again, we were talking about it earlier. We don't want to force people to do stuff, and we don't want to force people to have to do certain dungeons. You want to give them the freedom to be able to do stuff and be able to make their own way up.
Yeah, the thing is, more content doesn't necessarily solve the problem, because if you actually look at World of Warcraft, there's like what I have seen so far of recent expansions, people have said, okay, there's nothing you can do anymore. Like, there's nothing to do anymore in World of Warcraft. You do 2 weeks of raiding, you get your stuff, and then you're done. So the top tier of players just rush through that everything and get together, and also rush too fast to the content, and then complain that they don't have anything to do. So it's simply just a mentality of players that you can't really, you can't cater to them enough as they want you to.
Yeah.
They're too hungry, essentially. So what are they going to do? In my opinion, we have enough content for lower level players. Like, actually getting to a decent point in terms of item levels, because it's constantly shifting to growing and everything. I think we have enough to give new players to. Like, I think there is enough content to build a bridge to the highest end game content in the game. Not necessarily
the
in terms
returning
of
dungeons could have been a mid-tier dungeon for them.
Yeah.
Instead of it being just straight leveling, because you can level through Neverwinter, and I mean, I don't want to say it. Yeah, pretty fast. But if you're just a casual player, it probably might take you less than a week or so. So I mean, and that's just going through all the campaigns and stuff.
The campaigns is actually what is going to be the most work for new players. Plus, then getting to a point where you can acquire refinement points on a regular basis. But in terms of basic gear, with relic gear and Astorian rings and the seal shop, it's quite easy to get to a decent point as a new player. Essentially, with enchantments getting cheaper and artifacts getting cheaper and everything. I think there's enough for new players. I would like a thing where they say, okay, we introduce, let's say, a non-epic version of a skirmish again, just like they did with back when States of Turn was the new skirmish. I really like that setup.
I remember.
I generally don't get why they don't do more different versions of the same content. Maybe that's not easily possible. You think it's super easy to just scale mobs and have a harder version of a dungeon. I mean, I think it should be super easy. Maybe it's not. Maybe I don't get everything that ties into it. But you just, as player, you're sitting there and then you think hey, what about you just raise the mob levels in whatever Temple of Spider or something, and then you have an elite version of it. something like that. That's something I personally don't get, but maybe it's not so easy. I don't know.
I think it's certainly easier than introducing a complete new dungeon with the same.
But they also said that it was harder to redo or to scale those that content up to the current level.
Yeah, I guess so, but I think Jay is right. Like, making whole new content, they've got to make so much more. I mean, you can, as you've seen already, they've already taken the model for a paladin, something so simple, which is a paladin defense, like that. They've taken that. So I mean, they keep the rest of the basis. The dungeon is exactly the same. It's just the people inside, the enemies inside, which they need to change. So I guess it would be easier because the models, the movement, and where they all start is the same. But I don't know. I mean, I don't create games, but I think that would be a perfect idea, right? What we just talked about, the problem with people saying end game is not hard enough, and other people saying, well, we're nowhere near it, we can't even get into it. I think that would be perfect if you have an epic version, like you have with the trials, right? You have the normal versions, the master versions. You could have even 3. You could have a basic one for everyone up until like you have the normal dungeon tiers with the tower, the cloak tower, and then you have the normal epic dungeon, and then you could have like a legendary or a master dungeon, which is the extra end done, right? I think that would be perfect, because then you are actually catering for everyone.
I also think such a system will come at some point. As in the same way that I think, okay, we will get player housing at some point. I think this kind of system we will get it at some point, because if you think, okay, let's do one module with content and then a mid-module update with a system upgrade, there are only so many systems that you can upgrade. At some point you're done,
like the mount upgrade system. That was a big one.
Well, mounts, alliances, loadouts, and all of that. Okay, but we now have a lot of things done. I could think of a couple more, let's say companions, because there are so many companions that are just shit in the current meta. There could certainly be more diversity.
Just waste of spaces.
Yeah, just waste of work essentially, because it's not used.
Damn, you talking shit about the Lilin?
Most importantly, talking shit about the companions that give you like 300 recovery or regeneration, because who would
They even added a boon for regen in Mod 12. Like, that was so nobody uses that. Why?
Yeah, the companion system needs a revamp. I mean, it's obvious. I think it's from Mod 2 or something. It's years from the but they added the active bonuses. They added them in like module 2, I think, maybe. So it's like 3 years ago. So it needs a revamp, and desperately. I mean, those companions that give stats, I mean, they are just awful.
Like, would you want to rework on bonuses, or not bonuses, on active bonuses, or would you want to rework on the entire system? Like,
active bonuses? It's
just active bonus.
I can see, like, at the moment you only want percentage in damage increases. That's the only thing that you really want to have.
And no one goes for anything else.
Nobody. And I can certainly see them saying, okay, we will increase, let's say, the stats you get from an active companion, because 300 crit or 300 power might have been at some point been competitive, but that is long, long, long ago. So, or being able to say, okay, I can make my companion look differently, like you can use a different skin. Maybe that could be a thing. I don't know how that would probably not fit together with animations, because you can't suddenly have a melee companion use a ranged power. That would probably look weird. But at some point they have to look at the companion system and say, okay, we only have so few companions being played. How can we diversify things? And I think that's
maybe they. Yeah. I was going to say just quickly. I think they've slightly tried. They've tested the water, I think, a little bit, because obviously they did the companion bonuses. So you get, what is it, 8%, 4%, 6%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a little bit, because people were like myself. I had companions which were, like you say, they were percentages. So I only had the Yeti, so I had him. I got the Rust Monster, things like that. All percentages. But I wasn't doing anything with them. So the Yeti was only rare or anything like that. And then when they started really pushing the bonding stones, and they started pushing the companion gear, and myself have like got the items to be able to give them, then I thought, well, now we have the percentages, or have at least heard about them, that they're going to be adding it. Maybe I should start ranking them up, or thinking about maybe I need to do more with my companions rather than just having 300 recovery or 300 crit or something crap like that. So I think they have tried, but I think you're right. It is so old, and it's probably the only system they haven't touched in so long. I think everything else they've at least touched and done in some way.
Companions would be nice.
Yeah. And then there's shorts.
Yeah, I don't even have a great idea how you would redo the system to really make a large variety of companions viable. But I mean, there are I don't know, you have like hundreds, not hundreds, but maybe 100 companions, and really so few are actually useful. And let's be honest, I mean, people don't summon them for the look. So this is not a thing in this game. So you need to redo them in some shape or form.
And people only run this same type of companions, con artists, archons.
Yeah, either the companions will lose their percentages in some form, or they the other way would be to buff the flat stats that you get, so they become competitive. Like one of those things, a thing in the middle, or well, maybe they have a completely different idea and it works. Who knows? But this is definitely one of the bigger challenges, the bigger systems they have to upgrade. Then there are some smaller things like experience rewards. Could certainly deserve a look at. Like,
you mean overflow rewards?
Yeah, overflow rewards. Yeah.
Man, I mean, those are great. Aren't you happy with like the 5 peridots you get?
Yeah.
That's
yeah, or the 5 experience tomes and the 5 companion experience tomes. Account bound, yes. I fucking love those.
And those are actually great, because you can, like, if you're into all characters that just pray for you every day, you can, like, during a double XP, you just need one of those scrolls and a fresh character, and you get it to like level 12 or something, and you instantly can start to pray with it. So those are actually great, and I'm using them even to get characters to level 60. You need like 70 or 80 to get a character to level 60, and then those are actually useful, although it's probably people see it as worst reward you can get, but I actually view them as useful.
Well, they could at least increase the amount of XP that you get, because
yeah, absolutely. I mean, overflow rewards are trash. I mean, I'm not challenging that. I mean, but the scrolls can be. They have a niche.
Yeah, I can see that they have a use somewhere, but just the overall quality of an overflow reward, which should be something. It should be an accomplishment. I mean, getting XP right now, it's quite easy. It's certainly much easier than it used to be with guild boons, with other sorts of possible increases. But it's still an accomplishment. Like, it's still something that you should. Okay, getting a complete level together, that's not something that happens frequently. It's not something that you just farm.
Unless it's a double XP event.
Well, then you can try to aim for that. But the things you get out of double X, like of overflow rewards, is usually you should spend your time differently than just slaying mobs. What I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, what about the crazy idea that, let's say you're about to overlevel past 70 and you're in Schult and you accept your reward in Schult. Do you think that they could give us a reward based off of wherever you open your reward? Like if you're in Schult or Sharendar or Wells of the Dragon?
Well, then you could just switch over to the region that has the best loot. That, I don't know. But
well, I not even just loot, but I guess, okay, maybe loot and reward. Campaign. That's what I was talking about, more about the campaign, like for the currency if you need something, instead of getting just, experience for your companion and yourself, and Paradox and Sapphires. I mean, you rarely ever get double AD in there anymore.
That would be the thing that they could do. Just give you campaign currency based on the region that you're in. Okay, well, yeah, I can see that. Why? Okay, I could see that.
Like
work.
5 totems or something.
Yeah, or just maybe give us more RP. I don't know. Maybe
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't care if it's bound to account, but if it's just more and I can do more with it, like they said, okay, let's make the game more alt friendly. Well, then yeah, that could also mean give us more account bound RP. It's not necessarily having current unbound sources transfer to account bound. God no, but give us more account bound RP so that we can actually play on our alts more easily. Something like that they could do, but the rewards.
But no more account bound items in general,
or
not account bound.
If
bind on pickup items.
If they add something and don't take unbound stuff away and just add account bound stuff, I don't have a problem with that. Because
wait, but weren't we supposed to get something like that in Mod 12 or 12b where you could make an item unbound?
I was about to say that there was some talk. I remember. I can't remember whether it was Foss.
Yeah.
There was like they were talking about maybe possibly paying either gold or you pay a tiny bit of Zen or AD, and you could change the item from being character bound to account bound.
I think it was the rings, the Mod 10 rings, wasn't it? The rings that they were basing that off of.
I don't know what it was, but
and then you could drop it. Yeah, you could drop it onto an alt.
Yeah, they said they were thinking about adding such an item. I think it will come into Zen stuff, which is also a fine thing. Like, okay, yeah, that's a useful thing. The other system that might need, like the smaller system that might need an update, is the Vault of Piety, the coins that you get from invoking. Because let's be real, you only do one thing with those. You open the bag for rewards. Like that's the only thing that you really want to out of there.
But you get lessers all day.
Well, I guess it's fine as a source for an occasional additional reward and some RP, but the whole system could be much better. And
even the other rewards on the other side.
Yeah, those are crap.
I forgot what those are called.
The only thing that you can really do is sell the Blue Mound.
Yeah, this
because they have what is it? They have transmutes and a bound companion,
and some potions, some elixir and stuff. But I guess you could use that and sell it. I don't know.
The thing is, the thing that irritates me is that they're so expensive. The items in there for what you get, the amount of time you have to play to get them. Like the Ilend, you can buy the Ilend there, right? I think it is. Oh no, the Angel of Protection.
Yes,
Angel of Protection. Yes,
360 for that. The companion, I admit, is good. The companion is good companion, but no one's gonna have it end game because I think it protects your health, but only when it's alive or something.
You get revived. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with
so you're not
rewards,
reviving your companion.
But that also
chasing it around all day to die, and
it would be amazing. It would be.
It's the most irritating thing.
It would be a good companion if the companion itself could actually pick you up. Like, think about that.
Oh, that would be so useful. There's many times I've been in a hunt and I'll die, and my companion will still be alive.
If you die solo, nobody's around to pick you up. Oh, that could actually be a useful companion.
Even that would be a brilliant mechanic. You know, like as you say, it only works if you're not in a group. That would be perfect. I mean, if it had an extra active,
you would have to give up, like your summon companion, maybe. But I don't know. But yeah, I think Yoshi has something to say about that.
But
I just wanted to add that, like we just said, how the companions are from Mod 2, and I mean the Vault of Piety is from Mod 0, so it's just outdated, and it is 360 tokens because earlier in the game on PC, this was the ultimate prize. So, you know, if a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago, people were actually racing towards the first Angel of Protection. It was a thing. The first one sold for 20 million ADs. The second one sold for 15 million ADs. And it was the ultimate prize. And now people that look, you know, that play the game nowadays, they see a companion that's hardly worth anything on the auction house, and it's crap with like subpar abilities and powers. But this used to be the ultimate prize, because and in the early stages of the game, the system of obtaining tokens was brutal, because you would lose all tokens if you missed a login on one day. So you had to actually log in on 360 days, on consecutive days, to get the angel. So it was the ultimate prize. It no longer is. It's just an outdated reward. But I think it's interesting to add this history to the reward, to so that people know where the angel is coming from. It no longer is special, but it used to be. And again, the first angel sold for 20 million, and 20 million AD 3 years ago, which was way more than 20 million AD today. It was really a massive reward.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about all of the catastrophes the PC economy went through to essentially devalue a lot of Astro Diamonds.
Yeah, you guys went through a lot. I mean, even the legendary box. I mean, those are 5 mil now, and they used to sell for 20 mil. That's the one thing that just shocks me.
They're more than 5 mil though.
Well, not 5 mil flat. I'm like 5.3, 5.4, around there.
I don't know how much it is on PC. It's actually
they're super cheap now, and it's just funny to me.
Yeah, that's just what happens with all the rewards in general. Like over time, they just devalue, and you have to update them, or they disappear, and that's what has happened with the overflow rewards, with the angel of protection, and also the companions. And if you don't maintain a system, then it will lose all its value, and we're seeing it all across the game. And
I think what would you do? Okay, so let's go back to the rewards then of the XP. What would you do? Would you rather, because I remember Jay said quickly, he said that it was quite easy to get XP. A lot of people find it easier to get XP. Most people kill everything and nothing is left unturned. And so if you're going to get that, so what do? Do you make it harder to get XP and the rewards are better, like a lot better? Or do you make it pretty much the same XP, a tiny bit better?
Yeah. I would say significantly up the rewards, but obviously need some sort of mechanic that prevents you from people saying, okay, I only mindlessly grind mobs or whatever to farm the best out of that, because that's not a healthy game in long terms. Because people might be compelled to think, okay, now to be competitive, I also have to mindlessly grind, which is not fun at all. But I would say, okay, let XP the same way it is right now, but add better rewards, certainly. But have the good rewards only like trigger once per week. So the
rewards the same, but then have really best ones be like the AD we see.
Yeah, have them. Let's say the first overflow reward per week, or the first 2 per month, or whatever you want to have.
Per week sounds good.
Per week sounds reasonable. Is a good reward, so that players who say, okay, I occasionally really grind for it, or I just play actively and I get the overflow reward, and then it feels good because it's a good reward. But you also have the mechanic that prevents people from just exploiting the new system, like something along those lines that could work, I think.
Like a tier list of every week, throughout the month.
Essentially, let's say a random, like the random queues. They give you the good reward once per day, but this time per week, something along those lines. And since
one other thing,
since you're not actually taking rewards away, since you're just adding stuff, like adding a new good reward or increasing the chance for a good reward, players don't actually lose something. Players only win something, and you get the occasional good reward when you get an overflow.
Like those power points, you should be able to trade those. That you.
I think the first 3 overflows after you level up should guarantee you a power point, because
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
because obviously once you get, because there is a cap for, I'm pretty sure there isn't there. You can only get a certain amount of extra power points,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Wait,
Effectively,
how many
you've
extra can you
now-
get? Because I have 3
So-
extra right now.
I think when you have them all, you get 7. I think you get 70, which you can use, and then on top of that, you get to, is it 25? I want to say.
No, you can.
15.
The total power points is 124. That's all powers maxed. That's 124 power points. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I
but
don't.
get- yeah.
I think what he's saying is that you're getting extra power points, right? Because I've still got extra power points after maxing out all my powers, and it's like I can't do anything with them.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
you do? Oh, I never paid attention. I don't know. I just I have 2 max characters. I never paid attention whether or not I was still getting power points.
I don't think I'm getting
thing,
power
though,
points anymore.
I've not had any more in I don't know however long, but I haven't got every single power maxed out. I've only got about 90 power points, I think, and that is round figure. I haven't got an odd number or anything to make me think I'm going to get an extra 9 or 6 or 3. I've got, I think it's 95. I think, which
But I
is
think
like
you can certainly get more than 95. That's just bad in RNG, man.
But I mean, like, this was my question was going to be to you. If, for example, like if Nova is actually getting extra ones he doesn't need, say that wasn't the case, say that they took it out, would you say once you've got all full amount of power points, would you add in another reward because you have lost one?
They could just
Would
say,
you just leave it?
like, one of the easiest
Good
things
idea.
they could do is, okay, you get a spare PowerPoint. Well, now, because you are maxed out, it's no longer a PowerPoint. Now it's, let's say, 5k royalty or 8k or whatever. Or they say, okay, congratulations, you maxed out on a PowerPoint. How about
Instead of
you can now give that PowerPoint to another character that is already level 70.
that's good.
You know?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Or maybe just change the power point into another feat point. I mean, I would love
Oh,
to get
well, that
feats.
would be too strong. That would be too strong.
I think that would be your
Yeah.
where you were saying earlier about buffing every character. I think
Yeah,
we're about to see that. I think we're about to see
I wanna see like I wanna see a Trickster Rogue in PvP with all feats maxed. You won't have fun. No.
that's all PvP would be.
Oh god, no. That would be
It would just be
awful.
them all fighting each other.
But yeah,
More than
let's say you can now transfer that PowerPoint to another character that's already 70. Not someone that is
You could,
on that's still leveling up.
you could
but
add.
to another character that's 70. So that would also be a system that could increase the game's healthiness for alt characters. Something like that. I mean, there's a couple of ways.
Talking about the rewards, like for the overflow though, I have got so many experience rewards. It's unreal. I've kept them for a long, long while. The reason being was because of the double AD.
It's never going
Was
to come.
to keep them all. Exactly. So I've got all of these experience points which I was holding for a double XP to then open for, which then I was told after I'd kept about 20 of them or so that we were no longer going to get them. I've still got them, still not opened them, and done nothing with them. And I've just checked on my power sheet and I have, bang on 95 extra points. So like, would you say that maybe you can only have a certain amount of reclaims experience rewards? Because obviously if you're getting, say we do fine tune the rewards that you get out of them, say you get enchantments and you get a double enchantment weekend, what's the thing from saying, what's to stop people from hoarding these experience things and getting 4 rank 7s, for example, if you make the experience rewards better?
That's how. Well, you have to balance out that with the thing, okay, there's a pool of really good rewards, there's a pool of rewards, and you can get only one of those really good rewards per week, but the first overflow XP reward per week is guaranteed to give you one of the good ones, and that's what the enchantments are in, and the other one just has, let's say, 5 peridots, or the tomes or whatever, you know, so that's how you could prevent people from exploring the system.
I guess so, because this is the other thing I think I was leading into as well, though, is like I said, I've got so many.
Yeah.
I could just hoard them and wait until the beginning of every week. Like, I have got enough to probably last me a month now.
But the moment you open those rewards, is the moment that they're going to announce a AAAD event. You know that.
You know it. You know it.
But
I will open them and it will happen.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, you now have so many to open one per week for, let's say, half a year or a year or whatever. But how long have you not been opening them? So essentially, you farmed like 1 or 2 per week. You know. And
I see what you mean. You've lost out.
Yeah. Essentially,
yeah.
Did you really lose out? Because I mean, let's say if we're hoarding our heroic encounters.
Currently he does not have and in the new season he also wouldn't have lost out. He just postponed his rewards essentially into the future.
Just postponed his progression. Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, it's all with those systems. It's all a question of when will they get to it. And now that we see, okay, the sort of important systems are being done with, we had mount system, we had loadouts, we had now refinement and queue system, random queue system, which is vastly important, I think. Yeah, refinement, one of the core systems of the game. Like what comes next? Which system are they gonna touch next? And okay, we're getting a wardrobe. Fine. Cool. Yeah, cool. Okay, I get it. I guess. And I really hope that they will do something with those systems that's not just, okay, let's add another grind, let's add another thing that you have to do, let's add another thing that you have to do in a certain way. Or I wish just that they touch a system like the overflow rewards or the Vault of PT and say, okay, they are not afraid to add something, like add small amounts. They might be of, let's say, RP or other rewards or AD. They might be time gated so that you can't play the system and exploit it to the best of it. But just something so it feels actually worth getting. Like just something, because the systems are in a bad shape, like those systems at least.
Yeah, I think as you say, it's like they're just outdated, aren't they? They just need an update and change, and that'll be fixed for. I mean, we're mod 13 and we're complaining about it. They've lasted for 13 mods. I mean, if they updated it in the next mod, we'd probably be happy for another 13 mods. Let's be honest. So it's not going to take. I say it's not going to take a lot, but they can change something quite simple like that, updating either rewards or Volta Piety, making a companion that you now have to really grind to, that makes it the final prize. Then yeah, it makes them relevant again. Because at the minute, as you say, people only use the coffers to get wards and things, and that just makes it as a side. You're not even rewarded from that, are you? Really for it? You're just, oh, I happen to have a box that may or may not have a ward in it,
or it may contain a peridot and an amethyst. Who knows?
Oh God, not a peridot.
And then you've wasted your time.
I hate getting peridot. What's really annoying is that they still have peridots and flawless sapphires dropping out of the 9 god. That shit is stupid.
Yeah, that's salt in the wound, right? That is salt in the wound. I think I've said this on stream. I think I'd rather have nothing than get a peridot.
It feels like an insult. It's like the same when you used to run Fangbreaker and get a flawless sapphire out of the box instead of an armor piece. Like that's just a hit in the face.
Yeah, and then what did they didn't they add the relic gear to MSVA? Have any of you guys ever, not MSVA, MSP? Have any of you guys ever got any of the FBI gear out of MSP?
No.
But it's in the loot table, right? It's in the loot table.
I think they said they would do it. I don't actually know if they did.
There's really no reason to even run that dungeon unless you're master crafting, which I don't even know if it's profitable now still.
I've had probably 3, maybe even 4, definitely 3 horns out of there.
Horn of Valhalla's or Lost Maw?
Horn of Valhalla's.
Oh, okay.
Like nothing great, but I've had that. I've had 1 legendary ring out of it.
Damn. You guys getting all these legendary rings. I'm still trying to get Ring of Dodds.
I'm still rocking those. I'm still rocking a Ring of Rising Power +5 and Ring of Rising Crit +4.
I have one of those. Yeah. I don't have any of the crits though. I only have a Ring of Rising Power. That's it.
That's it.
I
got those.
I think I've had
quite early on. them since Mod 8.
Two of the lifesteal ones. Don't know why I need that. Power and the defense one of the defenses.
Yeah, I have a character band,
Vitality.
Greater Ostoyan Ring of Stein, on my Hunter Ranger that I would love to have on my Guardian Fighter.
Nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, oops.
Maybe if we got that reward system like Lost Month. I mean, if enough people complain about it. I mean, what was the problem with the Lost Month was that it was it overpowered?
Lost Month set?
The set.
Yes.
Yeah. The set was too overpowered.
It was overpowered. It procced for way too much damage, and
yeah, it was benefiting of all buffs, right? That was it, right?
Yeah,
it was an encounter powers and everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, essentially, it should have only dealt your base damage every time you hit, like your base weapon damage, but it benefited from every buffs just like regular power, and yeah, that was dumb. That was dumb. It was just dumb.
Yeah, imagine today's power sharing with the Lost Mouth set.
Oh,
that
God, no, please,
yeah,
Love
that would
that.
be fun.
And then put a
Nine Gods will be a breeze.
Paladin bubble on top of that. Then you have Mod 6 reloaded. And then remove everything but Fangbreaker and Spell Plague. And then you have Mod 6 reloaded.
Yeah,
Oh,
literally.
shit.
Spell Plague would have been nice too if they didn't redo all the bosses. That was.
I actually like it.
I mean, the first boss is okay. I like the first boss. The last one, I was so disappointed with how the last boss was. I was like, "Where's all the ads? There's no fucking ads."
The first boss feels like the end boss from the mechanic point of view, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Spell Plague is honestly, I think Spell Plague is one of the best dungeons in terms of boss mechanics. The first boss is great. The second boss is amazing. It's just so great to see people getting pushed off. Just like this is really a skill check. And then the last boss is underwhelming. It's actually the easiest one of the three. But still, just from the boss designs, it's a really well done dungeon. But it just doesn't have the rewards.
Yeah, that's so
stupid. So nobody runs it. So it's really a well-crafted dungeon. Nobody can run it because, running FBI is so much better in terms of rewards, and it's really sad. A wasted asset.
I mean, this is something I was going to ask actually. If we had Mod 13 and you could choose the dungeons you wanted, what would you rather have? Old returning dungeons, or would you rather have new dungeons? I mean, I know they said that we've had Master Spell Plague, because this is the problem. To me, that Master Spell Plague, what we've got now, that isn't really the old dungeon because of the new bosses.
Yeah.
And in there, that isn't the old dungeon. To me would be like the same thing, exactly the same. It comes back.
That will never happen.
That's a new dungeon. That is a new dungeon.
You don't expect to see Dreadvault and Idris the same way they were when they were removed. Like, don't expect them to see them the same way they were. Expect to see them back, but they will be changed drastically, just like TN, like Plague. For Mod 13, I would like a new dungeon.
Dreadvault was so amazing.
I agree. They can reuse the environments, but they have to redo all the dungeons anyway, because you can't just throw out the old dungeon designs because the game is completely different. I mean, back then in the beta and Mod 1 and Mod 2, all dungeons were super ad heavy, and you had all those control wizards that had to stun the mobs or you stood no chance. And I mean, the whole game has just evolved away from that, so you can't just reintroduce them, so you have to redo them anyway. So
they brought back Dreadvault, and they didn't bring it back, but they brought back some of those resources from Dreadvault and Tomb of the Nine Gods. You see a little bit of that, just a little bit of like the scenery and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They can reuse some of the environment or the maps, but it's not like they just can copy the dungeon from from the old game and then bring them back. That wouldn't work for many reasons.
It's also, you also have to say, if you compare the old graphics, like side-by-side comparison, the game looks much better. Game looks much better now. There's actually a huge jump somewhere in between.
I mean, a question to both sides really, because obviously me and Nova are console, you two PC, is I think something that we would like to see is maybe have some sort of graphics settings in our options on the console, because at the minute when we get into very
oh yeah, you can't even change
player-based
graphics, right?
areas, to very high player bases, and it lags like hell. Like Protector's Enclave, you can see it, the frame rate is visibly dropping. When you go into solo anything, you're fine. When you get into Tiamat, you can probably see about 3 attacks happen, and that's it.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. You can't even change any graphics,
So
right?
Yeah, there's nothing. You
Oh.
can. I tell you what, the worst is, Nova probably is dreading it right now, is the dragon turtle in Storm. Yeah, in Sea of Moving Ice, he does his body slam.
That's
You
it.
see everybody shoot up about 3 foot. You stand still, it lags. You go in the air, full. Everyone's in there, and then the next frame is you on the floor again, standing up. That's literally all you get. You get 3 frames.
And you're either dead or your game lags and it just, kicks you out. You have to restart the game.
Yeah,
And
that sucks. And I mean, it should be possible, right? Because like in a console, there's just a graphic card like in a PC.
Yeah.
So why don't you have the same options essentially? Unless like Sony and Microsoft don't allow it because they want to have the games play on the best possible settings every time. That's the only option I see.
Well, if you're saying best possible settings, that leads to like the Xbox One X. Was Neverwinter even updated for that? Because it has a new graphics, it has a new CPU, everything is updated on it. So I would assume that it runs better, but I don't think it does. I think it's just completely the same system.
Asking the wrong people here. We have no idea.
I don't know either. I mean,
we have no idea about that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm so happy that I'm playing on PC. Honestly, like the extra stuff that we can do on PC is obviously I'm hugely biased because of the demo tool, but
it's not fair. No, it's not fair. Not when we have. If you had one day, if you spent one day just in Sea of Moving Ice, you would hate it. You'd wonder why there wasn't these options in there at all. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Demon.
I mean, it's also some zones lag so much. I mean, I'm having huge issues in Stronghold, and that's really the only zone my PC just lags as hell, and I can't figure out why. Even if I'm playing like on the lowest settings, it still lags, so it doesn't make any difference turning on and off stuff. And it's the only zone that where I have problems. So it's really weird, and it feels random.
Well, the
and
other
obviously, the game always had problems with zones and a high player count, like Tiamat, that has never worked.
Icewind Dale.
Well,
Icewind Pass, if you have like open world PvP and people are actually doing it, which I see more and more, it can be incredibly laggy. But the other way around, the good thing for console is you guys at least have a certain base amount of performance guaranteed. Whereas there are so many people playing on PC with such old machines. Like, I know people who still play on XP, Windows XP.
Damn, really?
Oh god, so many. And I always think
so old.
That should
it's ridiculous.
The PC should be drenched
at least
in viruses.
Vista.
Because
I would assume Vista is like
support
the best
has
to
been
use.
cut so long ago. But yeah, so people still running old machines and then complaining that they can't play Neverwinter anymore because it doesn't support DirectX 11 or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that was hilarious when they cut the support for DirectX 9 or something, and then a bunch of people complained that I run Windows XP and I can't play the game any longer. And like even on these super old machines, you should be able to upgrade to Windows 7, and it's probably because like Windows 7 is actually decent. It's probably not even as much of a disadvantage even for an older machine. I don't get it. So
please buy a new PC. You can get a new one that runs Neverwinter just fine for like $300. No,
I built mine for 300. And I
Yeah.
can run high-end games at the
Yeah.
highest settings.
it's
shit
not. It's
$300.
not that expensive. Plus, your PC is probably drenched in viruses. XP support was cut so long ago. It's amazing.
That's all you remember. What
Yeah. Oh, we're no longer talking about Neverwinter. I'm sorry. I kind of derailed that.
No,
like-
I know what you mean though.
Yeah.
I know what you mean though.
I think Vista was my
It's
favorite
like
product.
the only thing I've got it up now because I was intrigued about it. The only thing that we have in there which is graphics related is it literally says limit the frame rate on or off.
What the fuck? That
is literally
Xbox?
it, and it is quite an irritating thing.
Yeah, you guys don't even have like console, right?
No, nothing. There's nothing in there. It needs. I think it needs to. There should be something on there, even if it was basic, like low, medium, and high.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I do videos, and if I do an opening or if I'm talking about something, I'll probably have it on high. But if I'm trying to show off a dungeon or a new trial or something, it just visually it looks bad. You can't see what's going on. Your character is just doing half of what he should be really. And like you say, you try and do dragon turtle and you can't see anything. Nothing happens.